Hey everyone, welcome to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
And I'm Lakin.
And I'm John.
Now that you know who we all are, let's get into how the show will work. Each week we will present news to you within the Star Wars universe, film, comics, anything related, as well as give a review for something within the canon that's not one of the 6 original films, because I think at this point we all know how we feel about those 6 films.
I don't think there's anything left to talk about.
So, this week we'll be talking about Clone Wars, so look forward to that later in the show. Alright, so let's hit off with some news.
Okay, so it looks like Disney and Lucasfilm are in pretty hot water with the UK Health and Safety. When their executive announced that they had found not one, but 4 separate violations of health and safety laws on the Millennium Falcon set where Harrison Ford had sustained an injury. Foodles Production Limited is the company that is responsible for the Millennium Falcon, and it turns out Disney owns Foodles. Therefore, they have been set to go to a hearing on May 12th. As for the violations, the only one most news sites have been able to make out is that the hydraulics for the door that crushed Harrison's leg qualifies as dangerous equipment on set, but had not been treated as such.
Alright, so I'm as the one who, as I researched this, I found it very interesting that Disney owns the company. I think that's what really puts them in water, but at the same time, Disney has the money to get away from some of this stuff.
At the same time, you know, there is still the problem that because they own the company, that does make them the one most responsible for the incident.
What do you think?
Yeah, considering that they own the company, it really puts them on the spotlight because they have a partnership with that company, so that company is part of Disney.
Yeah, I think at worst, they're gonna just settle it out of court and just be like, here's some money, and then they'll just promise to improve their working
Because
ethics.
that's how Disney solves their problem, is toss money at them.
Yes.
I mean, it's how they got Star Wars to begin with.
Yes, exactly. Just take all our money.
Shut up and take my money!
Alright, so
Well, it seems there's going to be another LEGO Star Wars show called LEGO Remaker Adventures. The show itself had a trailer that was up on the LEGO's Star Wars YouTube channel, but it was quickly taken down. But you can still find the trailer on YouTube through other people that pirated it.
And didn't you say it was basically going to be taking place a few days before the start of A New Hope?
no, this one is, it's taking place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, so...
Oh, okay, I'm thinking something else.
So Luke's already lost his lightsaber, which made a lot of people speculate that the lightsaber that one of the main characters finds in the trailer, which you have to look it up on YouTube because Star Wars removed it.
And look it up quickly while it's still there.
Yeah. So apparently it's this magical lightsaber. We all saw the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's more for your explanation. It's a magical lightsaber that used all kyber crystal, which is sort of a good thing that's a LEGO show, because otherwise I don't think that would work out very well.
I don't think it would.
But yeah, apparently the Emperor's attention has been gathered from it, so he's trying to take the lightsaber, and I think that it can provide good humor, because I've enjoyed the other LEGO Star Wars shows. Like, I like Droid Tales. Droid Tales was hilarious, especially since it was basically the main 6 films being told from C-3PO's perspective, which he had just regained his memory because R2 was like, here you go. But yeah, what did you guys think of the trailer? You saw it too.
Honestly, I'm kind of on the same thing because of the Droid Tales thing. My favorite thing about the trailer was the reprogrammed battle droid they have as their companion.
Oh yeah, Roger.
Yeah.
He looks hilarious.
And of course I love the Emperor's timing of comedy in the trailer, because the Emperor, you can do so much with the Emperor when it comes to comedy.
Gimme, gimme, gimme!
Yeah, I also like that it's its own story, that's not just a retelling of the movies themselves or anything like that.
Yeah, because you really, that's another thing, as long as this stays not canon, I'm okay. Because, I mean, you can't really add the comedy like that, not LEGO's comedy, into canon.
No, you really can't. It won't work very well.
Meanwhile, award season has been going on and off, with different award shows taking place, and The Force Awakens has already been receiving some. At the BAFTAs, The Force Awakens won the award for special visual effects, and John Boyega received the Rising Star Award. These were no easy wins, as for the effects, The Force Awakens was up against Marvel's Ant-Man, Ex Machina, Mad Max Fury Road, and The Martian. Boyega had to go up against Taron Egerton for Kingsman, Dakota Johnson for 50 Shades of Grey, Brie Larson for Room, and Belle Powley for The Diary of a Teenage Girl. This was all the night before he had to return to shooting for Episode 8.
I believe I found a thing where Anthony Daniels actually released a tweet where he said, "Congratulations, John Boyega, but remember, we have an early meeting next morning."
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm impressed that they managed to beat out Mad Max, because I think Mad Max had some really good visual effects.
Yeah, it did.
Whereas, on the other hand, I think some of the other films came close. Ant-Man would have came close.
Yeah, and The Martian.
Martian was pretty close, although I don't see it as a big visual spectacle. It's more on the story in my
It was. Yeah. Now, Ant-Man, obviously, when you have a character like Ant-Man, visual effects is the primary focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, as for John Boyega, I'm glad that he at least beat out. I'm in agreement with you that he beat out 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I think I haven't seen it mainly because that's not my type of film.
No.
But at the same time, I would think I would probably agree that she probably could have been on this list because she might have been good in it for all I know.
I mean, like, bad movie does not always equal bad actor.
Yeah. Whereas Room, which I hadn't seen, from what I understand, she performed really well in that. And then Taron, oh my goodness, Taron, I love Kingsman. Kingsman was great.
Yeah.
It was.
It's one of the reasons why I want to see Eddie the Eagle this month, because it looks good as well, and it's also being done by the same director, Matthew Vaughn. So it's
The
got
fact that
that
it has
style.
Hugh Jackman, it doesn't hurt anything either.
No.
Definitely not. In fact, I would argue that it's probably going to help his career because then he has a even better actor to work with because he was already working with Academy Award-winning actors in Kingsman. So now he's working with even more great actors, and I think that's going to push him to do his best, I think.
And I love how Hugh Jackman is like steadily trying to distance himself away from the Wolverine character. He's like, hey, I can do other things. I'm not just Wolverine.
Yeah.
So going back to the topic of episode 8, a lot of people know they started filming earlier last week, and they're planning to continue this week. They released a short teaser to confirm the rumors that they were to begin shooting. The teaser were, once again, Luke Skywalker got no lines.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't like the fact that it's designated a teaser because really it adds nothing new that we haven't seen. It's different angles of spoilers for those who have not seen The Force Awakens, but at this point it is your fault, not ours.
True.
Mark
Sorry.
Hamill is in the last minute, if that.
Sorry, little brother.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they basically added new angles. They showed it in different angles that we hadn't seen. And from what I understand, from what I've been hearing around the web of other people who talk about this stuff, they've been saying that it was shot on the last day of Episode 7 filming rather than when they went back, because they went back again during Episode 7 filming, because that island's really hard to get, Michael Skelly. It's really hard to get permission to film there, because I think it's like a important island to the
I heard it
culture.
was like a wildlife reserve, and that was part of it.
Okay. But, so what did you think overall, other than the fact that we sort of seen what we've already seen?
I mean, and I did like how it cut away and showed like the entire production crew all cheering. But then, as you said, since it was filmed actually on the last day of episode 7, I'm just like, they weren't cheering because they're starting episode 8. They're celebrating because they finished this dadgum movie.
Of course, now they're back.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, what I really want, though, I honestly want more Rogue One stuff. We've yet to get any Rogue One details at all. And that's the film that's coming out this year. It's less than a year, in fact. It's in December. Whereas Episode 8, we got some time. I don't need teasers for Episode 8 yet. You already hooked me in. Episode 7 already hooked just about everybody in for Episode 8. Show us some Rogue One, because most of your movie-going audience doesn't know this film is even coming out, let alone what it's about.
Yeah. Welcome to the reviews section of the show. We're going to be talking about the Clone Wars movie Not the Clone War movie, but the animated movie.
So, like I said, I think we should start off just by talking about our favorite scenes.
Okay, I'll start off with the Zero layer. I thought the art style was pretty good for that. The colors were definitely very good, and I also liked the lightsaber duel between Anakin and Count Dooku at the very end. It was very simple, but it was enough to give you an idea of Anakin as a character.
My favorite, I have two favorite scenes as well. One is when they're doing the vertical battle in the Teth jungle, just because it was definitely something that, you know, Star Wars was all about getting inventive with the way the battles were done. That was definitely something they probably wouldn't have been able to pull off in the live action films. They were definitely taking advantage of the computer technology there. And I really liked the duel between Obi-Wan and Asajj Ventress.
That's another good one.
Definitely one of the better lightsaber duels we've seen.
Yeah, I like that duel also. And I like the duel at the end also.
Do you have one we haven't mentioned?
Do you have an original? Are you gonna?
Well, I do like when they first introduced Talia.
What?
Oh, you mean
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Yeah.
Wrong series.
Wrong series.
Yeah, when they introduced Ahsoka,
Yeah.
and because she was supposed to be Obi-Wan's Padawan, but then he kind of pulled the switch there and was like, oh no, I asked for her to be your Padawan kind of thing behind the scenes.
Which, I will say, that's always been something I've questioned a little bit, because I was like, I thought the Master was always supposed to choose their own Padawan. I didn't realize they could have one just randomly assigned to them.
And I think in Anakin's case it was more than just random. I think it was more of...
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think in Anakin's case he might have been the exception just because Yoda and Obi-Wan sort of needed proof that he could become a good Jedi, because they had seen him get too attached before, as evidenced by his mother.
Yep.
Actually, you say you like the Ahsoka scene. This was during the time when I hated Ahsoka as a character.
To be fair, at the very beginning, most people did hate Ahsoka, because at first they're just like, oh great, they brought in another annoying brat. What are we gonna do now?
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with, you know, Ahsoka being female or any of that, or even that she's Anakin's Padawan. I was okay with all that stuff.
It's just the fact that Ahsoka is, at first it said that they were going to do what they did with so many of these types of shows before. They're going to introduce the little kid who's running around trying to do everything and is failing miserably, is just getting in the way and being annoying. And at first, Ahsoka actually was kind of like that, but then it showed she kept growing and getting better.
Yeah, she was almost like from X-Men, the animated series.
Jubilee?
Yeah, she was almost the Jubilee of Star Wars.
Except Ahsoka got better. Jubilee did not.
No.
No.
But, I other than that, I don't really have too much complaints about the film, other than what I was talking to you earlier about how it aged not that well. I mean, you can still watch it today and be fine, but it's animation quality. There's better stuff out there, including the show.
Yeah, it's just, when they're doing all the action stuff, it works really well. But if they're just standing around talking, they look like mannequins.
And then another thing is you can, behind the scenes, one of the interesting things is that film is actually 4 TV episodes of the Clone Wars. And you can sort of tell. That's another, you can sort of tell where they end one story arc and are like, okay, here's the next story arc within the film. I mean, they connect in a bigger arc, but you can still tell where the smaller arcs are, and it doesn't really help me as an audience member anyways.
Which, it wouldn't be so bad if they hadn't released it in theaters in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's also where a lot of people get their hate for the Clone Wars movie, because the Clone Wars movie is not a very liked movie.
It's really not.
And I can understand why, because when you throw something like that into theaters, you are trying to say, hey, this is a movie that's meant to be watched theatrically. The Clone Wars movie should not have been that, because you watch it and you realize, no, this is a TV movie. This is something they should have put on Cartoon Network, like what they're doing with the Rebels stuff.
Yeah.
Because they did the same thing with Rebels, although I think Season 2 shouldn't have done it, but that's another discussion for another time. But they should have done something like that, where it was just on TV, you got 4 episodes, which equals up to the 2-hour mark. and it would have worked, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas instead we got theatrical, and everybody's like, I don't like this movie. And it's like, yeah, because you saw it in a theater where it really shouldn't have been seen.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts? Any ratings? What do you give it?
Out of 5 stars, I give it a decent. I give it a decent 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my final thing is, like, I was one of the few I was in the minority of people who at the very I like Ahsoka at the very beginning, because
Yeah.
to me she always seemed like she was the happy medium between Anakin and Obi-Wan. She could be impulsive and reckless like Anakin, but at the same time she could be wise and calculating like Obi-Wan.
Yeah, now that I go back and look at it, it's not as bad. But that's the problem is I shouldn't have to go back and have to look at it to see the good in Ahsoka. I should have been able to see it from the beginning, and that was a big problem for me. But I still give it a decent rating. I give it about 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd give it probably about a 4.
Okay.
Also.
Well, let's get into this week's news, as a lot has happened this week.
According to Blu-ray.com, The Force Awakens will be released digitally on March 15th. This has not been confirmed, but Blu-ray.com has been pretty spot on with these types of releases in the past. This supports the rumors that we'll be getting the Blu-ray in April, as Disney in the past has released their Marvel films digitally 3 weeks before the physical release. Also, while we're talking about the Blu-ray, the editor for The Force Awakens, Mary Jo Marquis, said that there's probably somewhere around 7 or 8 digital deleted scenes. A Swedish site, Steedom.com, has put up The Force Awakens for pre-order and put up the potential bonus features.
Okay, so that's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
There's definitely some interest in the Blu-ray, especially from me, because I already pre-ordered mine. Thank you, Target. So I'm sort of hoping that my Blu-ray will have some of the stuff I want in it. So I'm glad it's coming soon. Although, I mean, when you think about it, it's not early either, because
yeah, not much.
because in November, the Mockingjay came out in November in theaters, and now we're getting their Blu-ray next month.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that The Force Awakens would be in April, just like Spectre was like early November, and it's already coming out soon.
Yeah.
So, it's good to know the amount of deleted scenes. As you can see, we've got the novelization, so I already know some of the stuff that's been deleted. But yeah, I mean, so what's your take on all of this information? I mean, it's a lot to process.
Yes, it is a lot to process. Well, I'm kind of interested in the deleted scenes a lot, to see what was cut from it.
Yeah, because in the interview with Marquis, she talked about how there was some stuff that what they would do is they delete the stuff that for like pacing reasons. Usually, it was usually pacing, not because the scene was bad or anything.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is after they deleted all the stuff so that way they had the time they wanted, they went back and were like, okay, well, what scenes need to be that are absolutely necessary for the film? And apparently none of them that they deleted were necessary afterwards. So that's good news that they deleted stuff that, I mean, at least they made sure to take care of the stuff they deleted, and it wasn't stuff that were absolutely necessary for the plot.
Yeah.
And from what I've read in the book of the stuff that was deleted, yeah, for the most part, it's not really plot essential scenes. I mean, it's stuff that I would have loved to see on the screen, like the Unkar plot scene that I've told you about.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to see that on the screen. I would have loved to see Chewbacca rip someone's arm off, which was a deleted scene. And that's in the book, that's not in the film. So I would have loved to see that scene, but at the same time I understand why it wasn't necessary.
And also the scene where Kylo Ren, before he meets them and goes on the Millennium Falcon and all.
Yeah,
Has
the Millennium Falcon scene that they deleted with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
That's one that's also in the book. That would have been, once again, another nice scene to see, but once again, it wasn't absolutely necessary. I mean, I understand why they wanted to just have him find Han and get that scene over with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can understand. Images have already been appearing all over the internet of the production for Episode 8. Director Rian Johnson started things off by tweeting images of him doing a crossword puzzle on a set that looks very Imperial-like. The next images that came out were of set pieces at Dubrovnik, as well as tents being set up for the filming there that is supposed to start March 9th. Meanwhile, MakingStarWars.net has gotten a translation of a tourist board that reads, "Dear visitors, Dubrovnik will soon again be the host of the big American production Space Bear, which confirms our city as an attractive filming location. For a couple of days in March, traffic in the Old Town will be specially regulated. We believe this situation will not cause problems to you and that you will have a pleasant time in Dubrovnik. Preparations of the set will happen on the 9th and 10th of March from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. and preparations for filming and filming itself will happen on the 11th through the 16th of March. Specifically 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the filming preparation and 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. for the next day for filming itself. Thanks for understanding, and we wish you a pleasant stay in Dubrovnik." So, at least we know where one of the sites are for filming. One thing is we don't know exactly what will be filmed there.
Yes.
Like, if you've seen any of the images, I don't know if you've seen any of the images yet.
No, I haven't.
None of them really look like something we've seen before. It looks like a planet that nobody from the past 6 films and the shows, we haven't seen this film before. Although I could argue maybe it's Naboo-ish because it does have that architecture type to it.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's probably not. Especially since we already got tricked into believing planets were planets that they weren't. They really weren't in the last film. Like everybody thought, oh, Jakku is Tatooine. And then Abrams came out and said, no, it's Jakku, it's a new planet. And then, of course, with Abrams being the one who brought it out, nobody believed him because we already went through the con lies.
Yeah.
So we didn't believe him on that. And then it turned out he was actually telling us the truth. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess since you haven't seen the images, you don't really have too much of a take on it. But
No, not much.
But from hearing this, does it sound like something that...
Yeah, it's a good possibility, probably.
Yeah, so it's probably something new. Too bad we're all the way here in the United States. We can't,
Yeah.
get any images of it ourselves.
Well...
I do think it's funny that it's called Space Bear, though, in order to hide that it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I think that's funny.
Space Bear.
Space Bear.
I wonder if that's leading on to something.
It might focus more on the Ewoks. Maybe the Ewoks are back. There you go. There you go. Confirmed here. Ewoks are back in Episode 8 because it's called Space Bear.
Yes. Last week, ABC did their Wonderful World of Disney TV special. Harrison Ford hosted it and showed us a preview of the upcoming Star Wars experience, which will be coming to both Disneyland and Disney World. They showed us an eclipse of their concept art for a attraction where you get caught in a battle, get to ride the Millennium Falcon, and eat at cantinas or clubs.
So, once again, some more interesting stuff. I mean, I've been hearing about Star Wars Land for a while now. And I'm really excited. I've been hearing about it since D23, which was when they initially announced it. Anybody who was at D23 was lucky enough to see some of the stuff that we now finally get to see. Because that's what they showed us on the Wonderful World of Disney thing. They basically showed us whatever was shown at D23. From what I've heard. I didn't get to go. But I've heard from some people that did get to go that it's essentially the same exact images and video. I think the images are nice. I like the videos that they showed because they did show some they showed video of the way that the rides are going to look, like the battle between the First Order and the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. It looks sort of like the Buzz Lightyear attraction where you're like shooting,
Oh yeah.
where you're sitting down and shooting things.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like that. And then the Millennium Falcon, they didn't really show much of that one. But they did show like design art for the cantinas and the clubs where you could go eat. It would be sort of like at Epcot where you have your specific like little areas.
If they don't play the cantina band music in the cantinas, I will be very unhappy.
Yeah, if there's no dun 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 dun, dun, I will be coming for you, Disney.
Yes,
also,
we will.
Also, don't come for me for doing that. I know you can come for me for that
Yes.
because YouTube is very finicky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so we finally got Rogue One news, as promised, hopefully, but it's about a jacket and a crew shirt. So, a new article about the Wonder Woman film had a picture of one of the crew members wearing a Rogue One, a Star Wars story jacket. That's great. Images of the crew t-shirts have been released as well. There are 2 shirts, a gray one with the Lucasfilm logo on the front and Rogue title on the back, and a black one with the title on the front and back. Alright, so I think you know where I'm going to go with this. I'll let you start off.
Yes. As has been said, that we haven't really seen much of anything or heard much information about Rogue One, so we don't really know what to expect yet. And I think we need a little more information, like images or a trailer or something, so that we know a little bit more of what's to come in the movie, and so that new moviegoers that may not know much about Star Wars have a little bit to go on.
Okay, time for my rant that
Yes.
you have been expecting, and Lakin, who couldn't make it today, is expecting me to do. So I'm going to do it in honor of her not being here. What is wrong with you, Disney? What is wrong with you, Disney? You had one job. Give us a trailer of Rogue One. And instead, we get news about a jacket. A jacket that none of us can get a hold of, mind you, because it's only for crew members. So, it's not even a jacket we can look forward to.
And you got to remember, and we also got information about Episode 8.
Yeah, and we got more Episode 8 stuff this week, whereas you guys have been pretty hush-hush on Rogue One. And I think that's a crime, because Episode 8, I think your average moviegoer is excited for already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, you know, that 2/3 of average moviegoers who only see a few, maybe 3 films a year, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe that. You need to convince them that Rogue One needs to be one of those 3 movies. And the only way you can do that is by telling them what it's about. I mean, they're probably going to go just for the Star Wars name alone, but then they're going to be mad at you because they thought it would be the next film. They would think, oh, I thought this was supposed to be after Force Awakens. But in reality, it's supposed to be before A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're misleading people by not giving an advertisement as of yet. I mean, it's probably too late at this point to just pop up with one. You can't just bring it on your website now. It's a little late. I think at this point you might as well wait for Captain America. It's only a couple months away.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just wait for that because it's in May. So
Yeah.
at that point, you might as well release it on May the 4th. Maybe well, I mean, May the 4th would be too soon as well, because at that point it would be just a week before Captain America. So just release it when Captain America comes out. Put it at the front of Captain America. But you could have at least sooner released the trailer you showed at Celebration. Yes, it didn't have any scenes from the movie because the movie was not even being shot yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave an idea of the fact that it wasn't about the Force Awakens era. That it was about the original trilogy era. It gave that feel. From what, I mean, I wasn't there, but I saw the YouTuber upload it. So, I mean, give us a nice HD version of that. You could have done that in January, or maybe you could have even put it at the beginning of Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm. Maybe?
Maybe. So, that's my rant. I mean, there's really nothing else I can say beyond that. At this point, it's a lost cause. We already know it's going to be before Captain America.
Yeah. The news preview for the Star Wars Rebels episode Shroud of Darkness has come up. This is the official synopsis for the episode. In that episode, the Rebels return to the Jedi Temple on Lothal in order to find guidance for how the Inquisitors continue to track them. They once again meet Jedi Master Yoda and encounter a number of first visions about the future, the past, and old friends.
Alright, so I guess this proves, based on the clip, my theory that this would be the Darth Maul episode is probably wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Which disappoints me. But it's fine. I think I could wait a bit for Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since we're getting Yoda again.
Yeah.
And it's Frank Oz.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Frank Oz.
No.
Although Tom Kane did a good job in Clone Wars. I will give him credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
He did a good Frank Oz impression.
Yeah.
I like the clip. Ahsoka's in it. I think Ahsoka being a part of it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is sort of leading up to what we all know is going to be the fate of Ahsoka at this point.
Yep.
She dead.
She gonna be dead.
She dead.
I think we see it coming. They may even have do you think they may actually have a Force vision of her maybe getting
I don't think so. I think she might. I think she might get more evidence that Vader is Anakin, though.
Yeah.
It looked like. What's funny is that you meant because when we were watching the clip, you thought that she was talking about Anakin when she was talking about Yoda.
Yeah.
It's funny that you thought that because I was when you said that I was looking at the surroundings of where they were talking, and it looked exactly like the place in the 2.5 trailer where she was talking about Anakin. So I think that is where she's going to talk about Anakin with the hologram. And I think it's going to lead into Yoda talk, and then the Yoda vision that we saw in the trailer was also in the scene.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I've been enjoying the season so far. I did enjoy the last episode, but
yes.
that's going to be talked about when we do our season 2 review eventually of Rebels when we get there.
Yes.
But what did you think of the clip? I mean, did it hold your interest? Or are you going to watch the episode? I mean,
yes, of course I'm going to watch the episode.
But did it give you more reason to watch the episode than just the...
I don't know. I still probably would have watched it, but...
You were hoping for Maul also?
Yes. I was hoping for a little bit more.
Back to episode 8 news. Benicio del Toro was recently interviewed by Toronto Sun. In the interview, he discussed how big of a transition it was to go from independent films, like the type of films he had been doing before, to blockbusters like Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy, and that he enjoyed episode 7 and can't wait to be a part of the next film. So, I know we've discussed Benicio del Toro being in episode 8 before.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the film? I mean, are you excited? Does his interview, like, him being interviewed more and more, does that excite you more, or...
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, because I like Benicio.
Yeah.
He's wonderful in everything he is. I haven't seen Sicario yet. That's on my list of things to see with him. And I want to see that really badly. Because he's from what I hear, he's a really good, awesome bounty hunter in the film.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be a bounty hunter in episode 8, which was a big theory going around at some point. Because it was leaked by him that he was going to be the villain. But there was no confirmation on what type of villain. So the big theory going around was that he'd be a bounty hunter because he was a bounty hunter in the last film he was in. But I think that's what I don't want him to be. We've definitely talked about this. Don't have him be a Knight of Ren.
Yeah.
Can't
have that.
He will upstage Adam Driver so badly. Because I love Adam Driver. Don't get me wrong. I like his portrayal of Kylo Ren and Ben Solo. I'm one of those people that actually defends him as an actor for that film. Because a lot of people say, oh, he's a brat and he throws his tantrums. I think that fits the character personally, and I think Adam Driver pulled it off wonderfully. Now, the problem is, though, he is still relatively new, and he's not exactly as experienced of an actor as Benicio is.
Yeah.
So, putting Benicio into a role that's similar as to Kylo's, I think would diminish Adam Driver's character a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it would make you wonder, well, why isn't this guy in charge of the Knights of Ren? This guy is way more powerful looking, and I'm scared of him a lot more than I am of this child. So, I mean, so I'm excited. He also talked about how he, in the interview for the Toronto Sun, that he was interested in the fact that he actually liked the Star Wars films. He's not as big of a fan as, say, us, where we collect the books and everything. But when he was younger, he enjoyed the original series. And this was way before he got into acting, and he's like, yeah, I've enjoyed the series, so I'm excited to be a part of something that I enjoy.
Yeah. Battlefront had its monthly update where they added a new Hoth map called Twilight, which can play every game mode. The large nighttime map for the larger game modes and a small daytime map for the smaller game modes. They also added a new Hoth single-player survival mission called Survival in the Ice Caves. A film, grain filter, 50% faster loading time for matches, and Leia's indoor outfit are all just icing on the cake with this update. So Caleb, I decided instead of just talking about it, we'd play it a little bit for you to see for yourself.
Alright. Hey everybody, as promised, Battlefront. So, we're going to do the new mission first, so we're going to team up first,
Yes.
and then we'll turn against each other.
Yes.
Because after that I want to do battle
Yeah.
to try out the Leia outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you can see, they already have the map for next time.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's do Survival in the Ice Caves. Let's hope that the split screen works.
Yes.
Because that almost didn't work last time.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's gonna work this time.
Hooray!
Look at it working!
Yay!
Yay!
And the people rejoiced. Yay. Yay. Okay, so let's hope this runs.
Yeah.
They said faster loading times, so, you know.
Yeah.
Although that's for when we're actually doing online stuff, so I don't know if it counts when it's offline. That might be where they trick us.
Maybe. They added loading time instead.
They added, yeah, they made it 50% slower for the single player. Okay, so I'm
Okay.
top, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm bottom.
Okay, so
And as you can see, that's my username.
yeah, now you can add us on. You can add us on.
Yep.
I'm inviting you to add me on there. I don't care. I don't know you.
What's a good gun? Very much.
I'm gonna go with the heavy blaster, the T-21. We need to offset each other though at the same time. That's the thing.
I'm kind of thinking the E11 or the.
Okay, so you're gonna go with the basic blaster, and I'll go with the heavy. Do you want to be the Survivor or the Demolitions?
I don't know what's different.
Survivor gets the jetpack, scan pulse, and thermal detonators, whereas Demolition has the barrage, explosive shot, and impact grenades.
Let's go with Survivor.
Okay, you're going Survivor? Okay, I'm Demolition then.
Okay.
And start. I just figured if we offset each other, that'd be best.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these ice caves. Always so beautiful.
Yes, they are.
This is from the first Hoth map, the original Hoth map, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Yep. I recognize that orange. Also,
Yep.
Stop music. Stop before we get sued.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going that way, yeah.
Okay.
I see you. I see your yellow image. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. And I think they're coming from behind me. Hello. Nice try. Oh, and there goes my explosive shot. Now I can't use it. I got to use it
Wasteful.
I got to use it in that one shot of killing that guy. It was totally worth it.
We captured the escape button.
Yep. Gifts. Presents. Ooh. Hello.
Wait, what's this?
Oh, you got a rocket. You got the rocket launcher already.
Wait, what's this one?
That's an extra one. Don't pick it up. Save that for later.
Okay.
I guess we can leave now. I guess we should go shoot down that TIE fighter.
Yeah, probably. Really good idea.
Which way is it at this point?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think if I go this way...
It looks like maybe this way.
Yeah, I think we can go this way to it.
Yeah, I think it's up here. Whoa.
Whoa, hello.
I don't know how I keep using my jetpack by accident.
It's L1.
I don't hit L1 though, that's the problem.
Your controller is that... Ow, ow,
Okay, I got you.
ow. Where are they?
I don't know.
Oh, I see it. Use your rocket launcher. Oh, it just went over the other side of the hill. It's over this way.
Did I switch weapons?
It's L1 and R1 at the same time. To activate the rocket launcher anyways, that's how you do it.
I think I got it, I'm not sure.
No. You have to hold them down at the same time. There you go. Hello, rocket launcher.
Where is it at?
I'm shooting in its direction. Ow, ow, ow.
No.
It went that way. It went that way. This way.
I see it, I see it. Just come back, come back!
Get it, get it. It's a smart rocket, so it should lock on. Yeah! Sure there is.
Of course there is.
Alright, let's do the indoor now.
Yep.
Battle on indoor. Split screen. And now we can fight each other.
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to do the Leia outfit, or should I?
Whoever. Whoever gets it first.
Go ahead.
I guess.
Well, I mean, do you want to be Rebels or Empire, essentially?
Well, do we really get to choose?
Yeah, we get to choose. So, it's up to you.
I thought I'd just put you on one side or the other.
No, it asks. I think it asks you. Because I know it asks you when it's single player.
It does?
Yeah.
It never asked me.
Yeah.
They must have changed it.
It asks. It's asked since the beginning. See? It does that. So, we could both be on the same team, but that's no fun.
Oh, come on.
That's no fun. So which one do you want? Here's what I'll do. Well, let's see. There's no way to do it quickly. I guess I'll be Leia. So you'll be the Empire. Oh, crap. You know what I didn't do?
What?
This isn't the hero mode. So let's... I just realized this isn't hero battles.
It's just normal, huh?
Yeah, there's actually a difference.
Yes,
so
yes there is.
We would have just been normal soldiers fighting each other.
Yeah.
Which would have been hilarious. But not our goal.
Yes.
We want to show you guys the Leia outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's try that again. Hero battle on indoor. This time, split screen.
Yes.
Yes, confirm. Load. Hey there, cities.
Yep.
I actually tested out the hero battle before. It's actually, the indoor suit looks nice. As you will see as I kick your butt. As Leia.
Mm-hmm. We'll see about that.
Who are you gonna be? I guess that's the ultimate question on who are you going to be, because whoever you are could really kick my butt.
Yep.
Depending. So I'll be the Rebels. So now you get no choice. So I have no choice. I'm Leia no matter what. So.
Hmm.
Okay. This could be an interesting battle that could take forever.
Yes.
I will show them the true nature of the Force.
Okay, so this is a battle that could take a while.
Yeah. I need to get out, need to get out, need to get out.
So we're both sort of fighting to survive at this point.
Yep.
Whoever kills each other first, that's how this game's gonna go.
Which is my health and what is the other thing?
Well, your health would be the thing that's really low right now. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. It doesn't count if NPCs kill me. Just gonna announce that now. If an NPC kills me, it doesn't count.
How do I get my health back?
For the most part, you gotta find it if you're a hero. Here's a word of hint. The Emperor has an ability that can heal himself.
What is it?
It's one of your abilities. I forget which button. I happen to forget while we're competing.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Oh, nope, 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 nope. You didn't see me.
I know somebody can use this.
Yeah, me. Ow, 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 I didn't see you. I actually legitimately did not see you. Run away, run away. And you just picked up health.
I see now.
Oh, you did figure out which button?
Yes.
Let's just say I actually did know which button.
Here, grab one of these.
Hey, you gotta learn the hard way.
Ow, what was that?
One of my special shots. Come back over here. Come back. We gotta play. Come play with us, Danny.
Stay on them.
Hello. Into the shield. Why are you shooting at the shield, you moron? You destroyed our shield. I have a moron on my side. Ow, ow, owie, 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 owie. Is that you?
Baby!
I'll get you for that. And your little dog, too. My heavy shot. It's a pain, isn't it? I love my heavy shot.
Slaughter all of them. Let none escape.
Oh, I think you're winning. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Well, see, I've given up trying to fight you. I'm trying to find some of your side, because if I don't, I'm gonna lose. No, I need that point. No, you don't have it. It's not yours. You can't have it. No. Oh, ow, ow, ow. That hurt. No, I was gonna win.
I'm still here. What's your plan? Killing people is free.
No, I don't allow it. No, I'm gonna beat the Emperor to death. Yes!
Protect each other. You won't get a second chance at that.
That last one part. I don't even know how I won because you killed me twice.
Yeah. So you guys saw my reaction to that. I was not happy. Well, you guys didn't see my reaction to that,
yeah.
but you saw what happened. He beat me barely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do what's a quick match? Turning Point. We could do the Turning Point, and we can do it because it's gonna be the nighttime one, Twilight on Hoth.
Yeah.
Also, they're showing hints of the next map.
Yep.
It's gonna be an indoor map. On fire.
Yep. It's 5 versus indoor.
Do you automatically join me because you're plugged in?
Should.
Okay.
In theory.
In theory. It'll be very disappointing if you can't.
Yes, it will be.
But then you'll get to make fun of me as I lose.
Exactly.
Wait, I think I know what I have to do. Pick partner. Like to party. I don't see you.
No, I'm not showing up.
Although you're not my friend yet.
Yeah.
That might also be it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll just try to see if it'll work.
We'll see.
Turning Point, Twilight on Hoth. See, the problem is I picked so specific stuff that it's going to be really hard to get into a match.
Yep.
Although you would think a bunch of people will be trying out the new map.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know, more reason to be playing the new map.
Yep. This if you're playing now on Turning Point or something else, that is the question.
Problem is you can't pick the map first, you have to pick the game mode first.
Yeah.
It's at 10% full. Okay, so we're not going to make it in that game mode. I guess Walker Assault.
Probably is.
Walker Assault's always going to be busy.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. Always
Hey.
busy.
Yep.
And I don't think you can join me. But you get to make fun of me.
Yep.
So it's okay.
Yep. I get to make fun of him. It's gonna be great.
Yes, it is.
Prevent uplink activation.
The rebels have taken control of the uplink station.
They have us outnumbered. Rebel targeting sequence disrupted. Continue the operation as planned.
That's the wrong way, Trooper.
The rebels have activated the uplink. Move on that position.
Rebels in the zone.
We've cut their uplink. That should slow down their bombers.
Be ready for rebel units. The rebels have taken control of the uplink station. You must shut it down to stop a wire wing. The rebels have called in a Y-wing attack. You must deactivate that uplink station to stop their bombers. rebels have activated an uplink station.
Hostiles ahead.
We've deactivated their uplink.
Track down Solar. He has been followed to a location nearby.
We got rebels in the area.
That uplink. The rebel Y-Wings won't be able to pinpoint your location without it.
Boba Fett has arrived to provide support.
Nothing over there, trooper.
Open fire. That's the wrong way. Rebel targeting sequence disrupted. Continue the operation as planned. They're trying to get a lock on you. Rebel Y-Wings are targeting the walkers. Hostile sighted.
The AT-AT needs protection for a little longer.
Alright, as promised last week, we're going to do a review of Season 1 of Clone Wars. So, and this is specifically the CGI one, not the Gindi 2D one, just so you know. Alright, so Season 1 was our assignment this week.
Yes.
I think both of us sort of procrastinated on it because of school.
Yeah.
But we did watch a good bit of it. We did at least watch over half of it.
Yeah.
We got through over half of it. Good news is I've seen it enough to where I already know most of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know the Ryloth stuff is the last 3 episodes. But our main assignment was to figure out which ones were our favorite and least favorite for this review. Because as promised, we were going to review this. So I figured the best way to review an entire season was to decide which episodes we liked, which ones we didn't, which ones were our favorite, which one was our least favorite, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll let you start. I mean, or do you want me to start? I don't know if you need more time to process it because you said you hadn't figured out your least favorite yet, but
Yeah, I really haven't really decided on which ones like and don't like because I liked it all pretty much the same.
I guess I'll start.
Can't really say.
I guess I'll start us off because I'll be the mean father who can decide which is his favorite and least favorite children.
Okay, go for it.
So, I did enjoy. What I'm gonna lead in with first, though, is I did enjoy how much the animation improved.
Yes.
Just from season 1 and the movie,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell the difference. Like, you can tell they took their time with the show.
Yeah.
Even though, funny enough, the show came out the same exact year as the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They started off that show pretty quickly afterwards. But you can tell they were in more of a rush with the movie. Going into I'm going to start with my least favorite. Get the child I hate out of the way first.
Go for it.
The problem is I hate a lot of... I actually dislike a lot of episodes in this season.
Mm-hmm.
This is the season where... Honestly, when I go through all of my Star Wars canon,
Mm-hmm.
this is the season I regret having to go through because it doesn't... Honestly, to me, it doesn't get good, the series, until season 2 or 3,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll discuss when we get to those. But if I had to pick a least favorite episode out of this, it would have to be either... It's actually a twofer. It's either the very first episode, Ambush,
Mm-hmm.
or the episode where they're on, where they're stranded, with the alien race that doesn't fight.
Yeah.
Like I said, we only got halfway through the season to remind ourselves. That's actually beyond the halfway point, I think.
Yeah, there's one episode that I didn't think they needed, which was the one where they had the was it R4 unit? That was the spy.
Oh, the R3. Oh,
yeah, R3.
Oh yeah, the R2 goes missing
Yeah.
story arc. The two. I think it was
Yeah.
a 2 episode.
Yeah, I don't think they really needed that. They could have left that out, I think.
Yeah, it didn't really add anything. Whereas the ones I'm disliking, I can sort of see why they needed them. Like
Yeah.
the first episode, Ambush. The only reason I don't like it is it drags on a bit to me,
Yeah, it does drag on a little bit.
which is sad to say in a 30-minute episode show. Like
Yeah.
if you're dragging on, that means the writing's probably not that great for that
Mhm.
episode.
Yeah.
Especially when it's only 30 minutes. Not even 30 minutes. It's about 22 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but the one that I really don't like is the stranded one, where they
Mhm.
get stranded, where it's Anakin, Ahsoka, and Ayla Secura.
Yeah, the one where he gets injured and...
Yeah. I really don't like that episode. I don't like the first episode, because that's once again a two
Mhm.
episode arc. I like the second episode. Surprisingly, it's not because of George Takei.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not because of George Takei that I like that episode. Well, he's part of it. But that episode was actually more interesting, whereas the first part, I can understand why it was necessary, because it did have... It showed us the bond between Anakin and Ahsoka, so I can understand why that episode was needed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was more of Ahsoka's side, which I
Mhm.
don't think at that point Ahsoka should have been as bonded to Anakin as, say, Anakin would have been. Because Anakin, we've seen how he attaches to people. He's pretty quick with attachments.
Yeah.
Whereas Ahsoka, I don't believe her to be that quick of an attachment type person.
Well, in the newer, like in Rebels, maybe not, but back in Clone Wars, yeah. I could see it a little
I
more.
guess. It's just... I mean, I guess considering he was her first master
Mhm.
and only master, I mean, if you don't count Yoda teaching all the younglings, but I'm counting like one-on-one personal masters.
Yeah.
So you said you didn't like the droid arc.
Yeah.
I can understand that one. I think the droid arc, the R2 droid arc was a little much.
Mhm.
I prefer a droid arc that's later in the series in Season 5. I prefer that one over this one.
Yeah.
But I can see, I mean, at the same time, it's called The Clone Wars, so it's hard to say what episodes aren't needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, unlike Rebels, where it's a show that's supposed to be focused on the Rebels,
Yeah.
this show, they titled it well enough to where it could be a focus on anything going on in the Clone Wars. We could have even avoided we could have watched an episode that was entirely about a guy living normal life during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And just had nothing to do with the war at all. And it would have fit the show,
Mhm.
I think. But my favorite episode, this is the now, I actually do enjoy a good amount of episodes in season 1, despite
Mhm.
what I said earlier about thinking it. I'd prefer to skip it usually. I enjoyed the Hondo episode, which you caught me watching when you came over.
Yeah.
Hondo is always great. Always have Hondo.
Yes.
No matter what, even if this, well, no, I was about to say even if the story doesn't call for it. Usually the story calls for Hondo, though, if he's there.
Hondo the space pirate.
So, Hondo, I think, is the #1 space pirate of all time.
Yes.
So, you were going to discuss your favorite episode, I think, after that.
Yeah. My favorite episode was the episode where Jar Jar and Padme went to,
Rodeo?
Rhodia to, give support and aid to the Rhodians.
And then they ended
Yeah.
up mistaking him for a Jedi.
Yes.
Because the Separatists are dumb.
The Separatists. Yes.
I think it's amazing that he ended up saving everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad Uncle Owen learned a lesson.
Yep.
So,
But he just happened to come upon the Jedi tunic thing.
yeah, he found Anakin's robe.
Yep.
That had to be the best part. It's like, whose robe is this? And C-3PO's like, I have no idea.
Yep. I have no idea.
So, what would you give a rating for this season?
uh,
Out of 5.
I'd give it probably a 4.5.
Okay. I'd give it a 4. I mean, a little bit less,
Mm-hmm.
but it's because it could have been better.
Yes, it could have been.
Honestly, to me, there is nothing that has earned a 5-star out of what we've been out of what we'll
Mhm.
probably be rating.
Yeah.
But it's not 4.5 to me. 0.5 means you went the distance. They
Mhm.
did not go the distance to me. But, next
Certain
time.
episodes, but not all of them.
Yeah. So, next up is season 2 next week.
Yeah.
So, we get to watch maybe one of, to me, what is a better season. But
Yeah.
but each season of Clone Wars was better as it went on. I think
Yeah.
like each season got better and better. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's gonna be really hard to rate each season now, because now you're gonna expect me to go higher and higher on the rating. But I won't.
It's all gonna be Force.
It's all good. It's just gonna all be Force. Okay, so.
May the Force be with you.
So I think my rants have been working, as we finally have some news on the Rogue One front. According to Slash Film, Bob Iger held a shareholders meeting where they showed a Rogue One sizzle reel. This is what Slash Film said was in the reel. Most of it was very quick. A shot of the black stormtrooper, possibly called Death Troopers, as previously reported. Another pic of that same style of helmet and armor, but all chrome, reminiscent of Captain Phasma from The Force Awakens. An image that showed 2 AT-ATs that had a slightly different look with the door panel on the side of the body painted a lighter beige color. And a couple of cast photos were shown, one of Felicity and Diego Luna, and another of Donnie Yen. The clip featured Felicity's character on what looked like the inside of a ship or shuttle, with her arm up, holding on the hatch ramp open behind her. I wish I could remember what she said as part of the sizzle, but it went by too fast. The new stormtroopers looked great. Alright, so I think this is really good stuff.
It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely what I was hoping for a while, except not visually. Unfortunately, nothing visual.
Nope, not yet.
But I think we'll survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we're probably going to see something within 2 months from now.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
So about those Death Troopers.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have to get rid of them, according to some fans on the Star Wars Newsnet site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
With their black armor.
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget the chrome armor, which...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how we saw on Star Wars HQ when they were playing Battlefront?
Yeah.
On the new maps that they added, that you can find these chrome troopers that are just standing still. So they didn't know what it was for, and it might be because they were trying to advertise this subtly.
Yeah. Chrome Troopers.
Chrome Troopers.
I like it. So, Skellig Michael has proven to be a difficult place to shoot, so they decided to rebuild Ahch-To at Pinewood Studios. This was confirmed by a photo of at least one stone hut posted on Facebook. It is also believed by this his Facebook poster that a Naboo-like planet will appear in the film. All right, so what do you guys think about them not being able to go back to the island?
It sort of makes sense from what I know about the island, with it being a difficult place to shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that they would have to find some backup locations.
Yeah. Because from what I heard, that the island that they were shooting at was actually like a wildlife preserve, so that's why it was so hard to get it to shoot in the first place. So I guess they just couldn't get it again.
Yeah. And at least, now that they've been there once, it'll be fairly easy for them to reproduce the location.
Oh yeah, and I mean, they had already been looking at a off location that's sort of similar. So they had already had an on-location area as a backup plan. But I think they're also going to try to work on rebuilding it themselves, as the Facebook post had already shown. What I'm interested in, though, as well, is the Naboo-like planet that they may have seen, that they had talked about near the end of their post. And I think it's interesting because it's sort of like when everybody thought Jakku was Tatooine. I feel like it's going to be one of those things again.
Yeah. What'll be even funnier is if it's actually Naboo.
Yeah, we're all being misled to think it's going to be like the Jakku thing, but it turns out it's exactly what they claimed it was.
I'm gonna go visit where my mom was from. Yay!
The first paid expansion for Battlefront is coming out this month, titled Outer Rim. It will feature 4 new maps, which will either take place on Solas or Jabba's Palace. You'll be able to play as Greedo or Nien Nunb. A new game mode called Extraction will be added. New weapons, a raise level cap to 60. Anybody who's bought the season pass will get to play it 2 weeks early, while everyone else will have to wait until the day of. A specific release date hasn't been released yet.
Alright, so, Battlefront expansion.
Yes.
As you remember from last week, John and I are Battlefront players.
Yes, we are.
And I am not.
So, I mean, but as someone who doesn't play it, are you still excited at the fact that people will get to play as Greedo and Nien Nunb?
I mean, it sounds like an interesting concept.
I'm also excited for the extraction mode, which sounds like a fun game type.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to play at Jabba's Palace.
Yeah, I'm excited to play there too. I hope they have the pit in it.
Oh,
they can fall in.
As Battlefront 2 players, one of the best memories is playing at Jabba's Palace and tricking people into falling in the Rancor pit and dying.
Yes. So I hope they bring it back.
My brother hated whenever he fell into the Rancor pit.
Whenever that comes out, because I already bought the season pass, we'll make sure that John and I play it. But we're going to put it in a separate video whenever that happens. So just keep an eye out for that on the channel. So last week we gave you all some news on the Blu-ray DVD release of The Force Awakens that wasn't confirmed by Disney yet. They finally have given us a release date for the US. It will be coming out on April 5th. So that's a little less than a month away now. What type of copy you want will depend on where you go. Apparently, Best Buy will be the ones carrying steelbook copies if that's your thing, while Target will have their own exclusive cover for this set, which will include 20 minutes of exclusive content on the disc, according to them. Alright, so, Blu-rays for The Force Awakens. Something that we've been waiting for a while. Actually, not that long. It's about as long as the usual Blu-ray. It's about four months.
Yeah.
Which has become the standard.
Still, it's not like we haven't been waiting for it.
No. Unfortunately, though, I had to cancel my Target one because I didn't want the one that they were offering, because I had pre-ordered one from Target. I pre-ordered my copy from Target, but I didn't want that copy. I want the steelbook because I'm that type of person.
Forget that. I'm going to Target. I want those stuff with the exclusive content.
Yeah, I think I want that one too also.
I was talking to our friend Steven about it because I told him about it this week whenever we were just talking. And I told him about it, and he said, I want to make a hybrid where I take the 20-minute extra features and put it into the steelbook copy and just have it that way.
Of course Steven wants to do that.
I mean, at the same time, I don't blame him, because I don't like that idea of, okay, you go to our store, you get this. Or if you go to our store, you get that. Why can't I just get all of them wherever? Or just make it one copy?
All right, and now we're going to move on to the much anticipated review section of this video. We'll be reviewing Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 2.
Alright, so let's start with our usual topic of best episodes or episode versus your least liked, I guess. Not going to say worst, because it's really hard to pick a worst. I mean, it's getting harder, because Season 2, I think, is where they start to really pick up the show.
Yes.
Honestly, there aren't really any bad episodes in this whole series. There's just some you don't like as much as others.
Okay, well, first let's talk about what the season's about. It's supposed to be when the season came out, they were dubbing it the Bounty Hunters.
Rise of the Bounty Hunters.
Which was like when they were going to be like, look at all these awesome bounty hunters, because at the end of Season 1 they showed Cad Bane. And so that was a big promo thing, because everybody loved Cad Bane.
He's my favorite of the bounty hunters. He really is.
So, honestly though, I would argue that it's not really that much about the bounty hunters, because the bounty hunters don't really come until near the end of the season. And not even a lot with Cad Bane, I would argue. It's more of a, I'd call it the bounty hunter Japanese film, and what would be the third? I had a third topic, but it's basically that, a bounty hunter Japanese film mixed with one other topic, I can't remember, season, because I like the Japanese film story arc, honestly. That's one of my favorites, where it's not really a story arc, because technically there are two different films, because the first one is Seven Samurai, which was the first bounty hunter episode, which was when they were saving the plantation from one of my favorite characters, Hondo.
Hondo! Hondo!
And then the next one was Godzilla.
Yeah, the Godzilla.
The Godzilla episodes.
Godzilla / King Kong.
Yeah, / King Kong.
Which I find funny that they didn't even try to hide the fact that it was Godzilla. Because they called it the Zillo Beast. They're just like, yeah, it's Godzilla.
Yep.
With like a little mixture of King Kong thrown in.
Yeah. We're not even going to change the name of the creature to a degree where you wouldn't tell. We're just going to call it the Zillo Beast.
Yep.
Zillo Beast.
I also like the Boba Fett arc near the end of the season.
Yeah, that was also good.
My favorite episode would be the episode Voyage of Temptation, because the belligerent sexual tension with Obi-Wan and Satine.
Yeah. That was the third topic. Actually, I just remembered now, thanks to you. My topics were, for this season, the Bounty Hunter, Mandalorian, Japanese film season.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did like the Mandalorian stuff. That one was pretty good. Except for when the one episode that I probably didn't like the most was the one where they were having the assassinations going on and had the guy come and investigate it.
Oh, the Senate murders?
Yeah, the Senate murder. So where the he wasn't really the detective guy. Yeah. I didn't like him.
Poor Anno.
I didn't like him.
Poor Anaconda. He's dead.
I do not like that detective.
Yeah, but I think that was the joke, is you're not supposed to like him, because he takes his job seriously, yet he blunders so much, and I think that's the joke.
Yeah.
Episodes we did not like.
Well, I think John already said his.
Yeah.
What was your favorite before we move on to that?
Well, I liked the first episode only because of the moment where it was like, had the get in the car moment kind of thing going on there.
Yeah. I think, honestly, it was hard to pick a least favorite. If I had to pick one I didn't like out of everything, out of that season, it might be the Geonosian stuff. I mean, not Geonosis battle, but the zombie stuff that came in later.
Yeah.
Oh, the worms.
Yeah, the brain worms, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where they sort of jumped the shark a bit.
Well, can I point out, we did get the really great line from Obi-Wan. Come now, the nose of the ear. Which do you think it will enter?
So, in my opinion, I think, though, it went a little too far, because I had read Red Harvest and Death Troopers books, which were zombie Star Wars books.
Yeah.
And honestly, I felt like even when I read those books, which were fun to read, it sort of felt out of place in Star Wars for zombies.
My least favorite episode, just really, honestly, the only reason I don't like this episode is just because of the way it was paced, is Lightsaber Lost.
Oh, yeah. That one.
I loved the old Jedi Master. I did. He was so cool, but the way the episode was laid out, it could have been handled so much better.
Yeah, that might come a close second on my least favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the very end, it was just they ended it with Ahsoka teaching the lesson she learned to the little youngies, and I'm just like, yeah, wonderful. You're teaching them lightsaber 101.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's amazing though that one of the things that you may not, as someone who doesn't watch Rebels, I mean, I guess I've told you about Ahsoka's white lightsabers.
Yeah, I've seen the white lightsabers, yeah.
What I think is amazing is, if you watch Clone Wars now, you sort of realize where she got the idea for a white lightsaber. Because that was his lightsaber, the old man's. He had a white lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I didn't even remember that.
So you sort of, so when you go back now, it sort of adds to the greater universe of her, like, she respected him as a Jedi. So you sort of get why she would have changed lightsaber colors to that later on.
You know something else that I liked in it that they had? The black lightsaber, the
Oh,
katana.
oh yeah.
The dark saber, yeah. The lightsaber katana.
Yes.
I'm more excited for usage of that lightsaber in later seasons. So,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about in later reviews. Alright, so I think we're running out of time, so we should probably
Yeah.
start wrapping up. So,
Yeah.
what would you give the rating for this season?
4.
A 4?
Probably about a 4.5, actually.
4.5 as well, just because that one was pretty good. It was better than the first season for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was. The first season was really kind of the guinea pig season.
Yeah, it was more of the what do we want, what type of stories do we want to tell. So one last topic I want to talk about that, now that we're done with all the big news and the review. Before we go, this past week, Tony Dyson, one of the original builders of R2-D2, he passed away at 62 this past week. From what I read, he just passed away without any real health issues. I myself give regards to the family. Hope they come at peace. So, this episode's dedicated to you. Alright, so we're going to start things off a little bit differently. We're not going to go straight into the news. I know. We're going to just talk about what we've been up to this week, whether it be Star Wars or not, I guess. And
especially since in my case it is definitely not.
And, and just catch up and maybe give you guys something to talk about with us, even, if you find interest in what we're talking about. So, what have you been up to? We've had spring break this past week, so...
I've mostly just been hanging around my house doing a bunch of chores, but I did have one day where I had my best friend over. We devoted an entire day to marathoning the extended edition of the Hobbit films. She arrived at my house at 8 o'clock. We started watching the films at about 9:30, and she left my house at 8:30 that night.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And that is accounting for the many pauses and breaks between the films.
Yeah, I've been playing the Lego Star Wars game, which we were talking before we started recording, and I've been having fun with that. I'm realizing how much I hate some of the levels again. I'm realizing some of the levels that are in the Complete Saga edition that weren't in the one I used to have, because I used to have just the original one, which just had the prequel stuff. And there's a level that I don't remember in it that was in Episode 2, which is the chasing Zam on the speeders.
Oh yeah, that level wasn't in the original one.
Yeah, that one was added into the Complete Saga, which is what I got.
My favorite level in the original was always the pod race level.
Yeah, they have a newer version of that, but they also have the original one. If you complete enough things, you can play the original one. I haven't been able to play that yet, though. I did unlock it, but I haven't played it. I want to get through the storyline first. So that's been my objective. I've gotten through all of the prequel stuff. So now I'm on the original trilogy. I beat the first level of that. And it's been fun. I do realize how much I hate, which level was it? The Episode 2 level where you're chasing Count Dooku in the Republic gunships.
I hate the gunship level. My brother, whenever he was playing it, it took him 3 days to get past that level.
I also dislike the very first level of Episode 3, which is the space battle, because if you, unlike the other levels that you've played so far, if you die, you don't continue right where you were. You have to continue at the beginning of a checkpoint, because it's more of a rail system for that level. Whereas the other levels, even the other vehicle levels, were a little bit more it's equally set up. Although the pod race level I think was similar.
Yeah, the pod race level, you started off at your previous checkpoint.
Yeah. So let's get into the news.
THR has released a report of the latest Han Solo shortlist for the Young Han Solo spin-off film. They were able to pull only 3 of the actors off this list, and these actors include Alden Ehrenreich, who was recently in Hail Caesar as the cowboy, Jack Rayner, who played Shane Dyson in the most recent Transformers film, and Taron Egerton, known for Kingsman and the recent Eddie the Eagle. THR has said that these are probably not the only ones left on the shortlist, but rather the only names they could obtain due to the high secrecy of the project. Disney has declined to comment on this piece of news.
Han Solo casting, that is... man.
It's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, especially since now there's been the release of Disney announcing that they're going to do Indy 5. And there's rumors that if they don't just bring back Harrison Ford, which that's been the major story so far, if they decide to go with the younger one, there's been rumors that they're just going to pick whoever gets the Han Solo role to be Indiana Jones as well.
Which makes sense.
Yes, but it also puts a lot of pressure on whoever gets picked.
Well, when you think about it, Indiana Jones is basically just... Well, Han Solo is basically Indiana Jones in space, when you want to think about the actual character.
Now, do any of these names stand out specifically to you, like as someone that you think could pass this off?
Taron Egerton is probably someone that I would lean more towards.
Yeah, I mean, Taron Egerton has been the big choice for a lot of people I watched, especially at Collider. And they've been wanting him for a while. He's been one that hasn't been on the list so far that we've heard of until now, which means he was probably on the list beforehand, we just didn't know. They probably already picked him out, if I'm going to be honest. They already picked out who the actor is, because by the time we're hearing this, they already know who they want.
Yeah.
That's usually how these work, especially when it's down to just a handful of actors.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we first heard it was thousands of actors, and I was like, have fun picking that out, Disney. And now it's down to about 3 or a couple more, depending on how many names are left on that list that weren't pulled out.
Honestly, at this point, I think it comes down to who's the biggest Han Solo fanboy.
Yeah, or who can do a good, not impersonation, but recreation of the character, because that's the biggest problem, is people are going to be trying to impersonate him, but an impersonation doesn't lead to a good recreation of the character.
Yeah, which, if you want a good example of someone doing a recreation of doing a younger version of a character, you can always look at Ewan McGregor doing young Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and he was a great example of a good recreation, because he wasn't just impersonating the character, he brought his own stuff into it.
Yeah.
And he sort of evolved into Obi-Wan from episode 4.
You can actually see the transition in as he goes through the film, slowly drifting more toward the Alec Guinness one. Especially in episode 3, he has so many of Alec Guinness's mannerisms.
Yeah, he took those on and he made it part of him.
He said basically at least once a week, just to sort of motivate himself, he would sit down and he would just watch a whole little loop of Alec Guinness footage.
Now, no matter who they pick, I'm not going to be disappointed. All 3 of these are decently picked actors. I mean, Disney knows what they're doing. They so far haven't messed up Star Wars, so I'm trusting them. So I'm trusting them to do a good job, because they took extreme care with the episode 7, and this won't be their, and they've done such a good job with their other properties. I trust them on their casting skills. Alright, let's move on. Well, despite some weather issues, Rian Johnson's team finished filming what they needed to at Dubrovnik for episode 8 this past week. Unfortunately, no Ewoks were spotted, nor were Mark Hamill, Daisy Ridley, or John Boyega. However, their doubles were on location, probably due to most of the shots being stunt work. So, Dubrovnik.
Dubrovnik.
Alright, so I just showed you a clip from that we did off-scene, and it was actually a pretty interesting thing of seeing someone get force pushed, and it sort of proves that this is probably mostly stunt work.
And I'm 90% sure that the person that got force pushed was supposed to be Luke.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that they were wearing Jedi robes.
Yeah. I mean, it was a far-off shot, so it's hard to tell for sure.
Well, yeah, but I'm pretty sure, I don't think that Rey or Finn would be wearing the Jedi robes.
No. But, I mean, it could have also just been somebody else. Unfortunately, no Ewoks, like I said.
No Ewoks.
So our Space Bears theory Has not been confirmed yet.
Not yet, but it has not been disproven.
Nope. We just need to make sure there's some Endor scenes, that's all.
Please!
Or maybe an Ewok gets off of Endor for all we know. I mean, maybe Wicket snuck off. I mean, there were
Hitched a ride on the Falcon.
there were rumors that what's his name, the actor who plays Wicket.
I don't remember.
There's rumors that he's on the Episode 8 set, and so I mean, Ewoks.
Maybe.
Or he's just playing another character because he's played like a character in almost every Lucasfilm film.
Forget that. Anytime they need a short person, he's there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was there in Episode 1. But yeah, no Daisy Ridley, no John Boyega, no Mark Hamill, so that's sort of like a big bummer in a way. I mean, this isn't really something that's exciting, but it's also sort of exciting because they finished a part of the movie. But I mean, not a big part either, from the sounds of it. Honestly, I'm along with some of the people at Collider who were talking about this story as well recently, in that I want more Rogue One stuff again rather than this. Where's the trailer? Give us the Rogue One trailer.
At least give us a teaser.
Yeah, at least just show us what you showed at Star Wars Celebration last year. I mean,
something.
Yeah. But, I mean, what do you take out of this? I mean, there's really not much to go on.
You pretty much said everything I was thinking.
Yeah. So, next story.
BioWare released a trailer to their newest chapter in Knights of the Fallen Empire storyline, Visions in the Dark. The trailer appears to take a focus towards your inner conflict with the former Sith Emperor Valkorion, as well as an external conflict with his daughter, Valen. It's due to come out April 7th for anyone subscribed to the Old Republic. So, why am I leading this off? You're the one who actually plays this.
I mean, but you sort of play it, you just haven't caught up to me.
Are you kidding? You're a subscriber.
That's why you haven't caught up to me. But, I mean, you played some of the Jedi stuff, so you understand at least a little bit.
I've played to level 10.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's about a sixth of the game.
I got to Coruscant. That's as far as I've gotten, people. You want to yell at me? Fine.
It's not that big a deal. Yeah, I mean, I like this trailer. I just like Valkorion stuff. I'm glad we're getting back into that because the last few chapters have been surprisingly absent of the evil voice in your head telling you to do bad things. Because he's sort of, one of the big I mean, it's not really a spoiler, it happens within the first 10 minutes of the new expansion. Valkorion dies again. But yeah, he's died like 3 times in the entire franchise so far of the Old Republic. Just in this one game alone, if you include the expansions as part of the one game.
One of those villains.
Yes, he's one of those villains, but it's okay. We love him anyways. Because he has body swapping abilities. Because technically this was his second body. But anyway, so now he's been in your head throughout the storyline, and he's been trying to get you to work with him to kill his children. Because his children are, well, to put it bluntly, they're spoiled.
They're brats.
Yeah, and I mean, technically, you didn't even kill Valkorion this time. His son killed him, and then you got the blame. Well, it depends on your decision, actually. You killed him or his son killed him. It depends. My decision was to not kill him, so, well, no, I killed him. Correction.
I was say, yes, you did. I watched that bit.
Yeah, I was the good guy on that one. Because I wanted to work with his son, because his son seemed nice at the time.
And then his son straight up murdered a dude.
But yeah, and then he blames you for it and puts you in carbonite. Anyways, so the big ongoing story arc within the expansion has been Valkorion trying to get you to go to the dark side and use his powers to expand upon your powers, whether you're a Force adept or not. You get to use the Force depending on if you accept his deals or not. I have been strong enough to not accept his deals so far as my Jedi Knight. My Imperial agent, on the other hand, has accepted his deals numerous times. But my
what do you expect? It's an Imperial agent.
Yeah, but actually some of the Imperials have reasons to not like him. But that's more story specific. So I'm interested in that because I sort of want to see more of that inner conflict of choosing to be a better person or choosing to accept the power despite the cost that it might come with. And it looks like it's going to focus specifically on that storyline for this chapter, especially just by the name Visions in the Dark. Valen, on the other hand, is his daughter, one of the children that are brats. And she's really powerful, so I don't think we're going to kill her in this chapter, but I think we're going to fight her and get our butt whooped big time. Because we already saw her fight her mother. I'm not going to say who her mother is because that's a big spoiler. But she fights her mother, and her mother barely wins. And so this will be interesting, because you are technically the hero, depending on your alliances. And it's your job to try to stop her, so let's see.
At the very least, you're the protagonist.
Yeah, you're the protagonist. So it's going to be interesting to see how that fight turns out. I mean, so we'll see how that goes. This past week, Rebels took a focus on the droid Chopper. In the last episode, he ended up giving the Rebels a location to a planet they believed to be safe to set up a base at. Star Wars' YouTube channel released a preview for this week's episode, The Mystery of Chopper Base, in which we see the planet is not so safe after all, as Sabine and Rex find themselves fighting unknown creatures. Alright, Rebels.
Rebels!
So, you haven't watched anything so far of Rebels, but...
Except the clips.
Yeah, except the clips, which aren't really major spoilers, I mean...
Not really. The only major spoiler was, oh hey, Ahsoka's here, oh hey, Rex is back!
And honestly, even if you haven't been watching the show, you probably already know that stuff. Just because you're in the community of people that talk about it.
Yeah, no.
So, Rex and Sabine seem to be in trouble, though, this week.
Whoopsie!
There was another clip they showed. I didn't get to show you that one. And it showed an awesome scene of Kanan and Ezra doing some Jedi training before they get to the planet. So I'm sort of interested to see that dynamic as well. Because we've gone without some actual training for a while. Although Ezra's had plenty of on-the-job training fighting the Inquisitors. But Sabine and Rex seem to be in trouble from some creatures that, for the most part, people haven't really seen. But there's a lot of rumors going around of what fans that are like in my level of fanship know what they are. They sort of look like the Kenrath from Knights of the Republic, which are like these spider-like creatures that, and they're...
I think they looked more crab-like than spider-like.
Well, crab, spider-like. It's a mixture, sort of.
It's an arachnid.
It's also a pain in the butt to fight, so I can see why Rex and Sabine might have trouble.
Yeah, these things just look like giant hermit crabs.
I do find it funny, though. I know I've shown you or at least you've already seen the 2.5 trailer, where they showed like everything that was going to be for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that this scene, the clip that they just showed this week for the next episode, has that scene that made everybody think Rex was going to die. It has that clip where Sabine's like, Rex! And it's like, oh, so they really took that out of context.
Very out of context!
Because everybody thought that it was during a fight that he was with, during the Inquisitor fight we're probably going to see during the finale. And so, I mean... That's really out of context when you look at it now.
Because honestly, it's like, I realize he's technically in danger, but also it's kind of just funny because you just see Rex being carried off and like, get off me, you stinking Corolla!
Yeah, and you know Rex isn't gonna go down without a fight, and he's a really tough guy, and he's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with Sabine, who is Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
So, the other thing that's interesting is this episode sort of. I'm talking to you, Collider Crew, who didn't like the last episode with Chopper. I like that episode. And this upcoming episode proves why you should have been happy about last week. Because it wasn't a lot of the big problems that people saw was that it was a filler episode.
It's not!
It's not! It's leading into this episode, which is part of the greater plot of finding a new base for the rebellion. And, I mean...
I think they were just tired of all the leg puns.
Well, no, it was really a lot of the Chopper stuff. I mean, Chopper's not exactly a fan favorite character. He's a studio favorite character. Dave Filoni and everybody at StarWars.com loves Chopper. I mean, if you've watched any of their Rebels recap, you'd see that because they make Chopper they give Chopper his own segment in the recaps. So, I mean... I can understand why there's some backlash to that episode, but I still liked it. And I did like the character they introduced, AP5, which is sort of a C-3PO character they brought in, but not really. He's an Imperial droid that Chopper becomes friends with. We talked about this a while ago. And he ended up. They sort of have a C-3PO R2-D2 dynamic while still not being quite C-3PO and R2-D2. Because Chopper, as you've seen him, he's a little bit grumpier.
A little.
He's a lot grumpier. They also gave some good backstory to Chopper, which was like the fact that he was part of the Clone Wars and why Hera.
Chopper is basically R2-D2 without his coffee.
Yeah, I mean, and they gave some good background to Chopper, which makes you feel sort of bad for him, and why you understand why he doesn't like a lot of people, except for Hera, because he was abandoned during the Clone Wars on the Battle of Ryloth.
Oh.
And so, and Hera found him when she was young, and she took him in and rebuilt him and everything. And so that's why you have that dynamic. And you meet AP5, who was also a part of the Clone Wars, and now has been relegated to probably going to be shut down soon by the Empire, because he's now part of the Empire, and so he's going to be shut down and replaced with a newer model. So they sort of have that bond right there. And I'm glad they, I'm not going to talk about it, I'll talk about it when we review Rebels, which will be a lot later. But yeah, so I mean, this really shows that episode last week wasn't really just filler. It was leading to something, and I think it was worth it.
Thanks to our friends at Star Wars Newsnet, we have word of a new synopsis to the upcoming Star Wars novel Bloodline, which will be written by Claudia Gray, best known in the Star Wars fandom for her novel Lost Stars. The synopsis is as follows. The entire generation has prospered during an era of peace. The New Republic, governed by the Galactic Senate on Hosnian Prime, has held power for more than 2 decades. The wars that divided the galaxy are fading into legend, yet conflict has begun to take shape within the Senate. 2 unofficial but powerful factions have formed: the Populists, who believe individual planets to retain almost all authority, and the Centrists, who favor a stronger galactic government and a more powerful military. As the political gridlock threatens to cripple the fledgling democracy, centrist leaders have called for the election of a first senator. It is their hope that this powerful position will bring order to the divided Senate. But populists like Senator Leia Organa Solo know all too well the price of such order. Even as the election nears, the divisions between the worlds of the galaxy are growing wider.
This book.
This book.
I am excited because I liked Lost Stars a lot, which we'll get to once again when we review it. That's the thing. That's the big thing, is reviewing a lot of stuff. Claudia Gray did a really good job with Lost Stars, and I was glad to hear that they brought her back for another book, because, I mean, I think she deserved it, because Lost Stars was more of a junior novel. Like, it was a young adult novel, not a junior novel, but a young adult one. So it was it wasn't published by Del Rey, who does most of the Star Wars books. I forget who published it. It was like Penguin or someone else. Within Del Rey, but not Del Rey themselves. Like someone that Disney has deals with. And so Del Rey brought her in for Bloodline, and I was excited because I heard it was 6 years before The Force Awakens. And that's the closest we've gotten so far to The Force Awakens in terms of like novels and stuff so far with the new canon. So I'm excited for this book. And I guess some of my excitement sort of dropped in that the way it's sounding, there's going to be no Kylo Ren stuff. We're not really going to learn about Ben that much, but I understand why. I think they're going to leave that for the films.
Well, the thing I think is interesting, with the way they're setting up the centrists, it seems to me like eventually these centrists are going to be the ones that break off and form the First Order.
Actually,
I mean, like, obviously I'm not sure if that's true, but the way they're setting them up, it sounds like it sounds like they have the potential to, if not like start the First Order, at least like give them a lot more power and influence.
I think the centrists are the people that, I think at this point the First Order's sort of already been coming into power. I think this is going to be more about the centrists being the people that were refusing to listen to Leia on the idea that, hey, these guys are a problem that we need to deal with.
Which means that this book, at the very least, will probably at least show the beginning of the Resistance.
Yes, and I think that's going to be the major focus. There was another synopsis that included a sort of an antagonist character, I forget his name, and he was a collector of Imperial relics, and that sounded pretty interesting because he sounded like a Palpatine but without the Force to ally him. He sounded like someone that I could hate, essentially, and I could root for Leia to beat within the Senate. And I like the idea of this because I'm one of the few people who likes the politics within Star Wars. I'm one of those few people who actually love seeing it, but
I do agree they can go overboard with it.
Yes, I do. I agree with that. But I think Clone Wars has shown that they know how to sort of weave it in a little bit better. Because this sort of goes along the lines of more of political spy drama type storytelling.
Which is a lot of what they would do whenever they would do episodes focused on the senators in Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think the problem with the prequels in comparison was that it was more of a... It wasn't as politically drama-based. Well, it wasn't as interesting, I guess, to
It
some
was a
people.
lot of talking.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of hope... I wish that some of the deleted scenes that they had filmed were brought back in, because there were some really good deleted scenes of political stuff that would have made it a little bit less dull.
And maybe if they had taken some of the scenes and replaced them with deleted
Yeah.
scenes.
Because I know there was the one scene where in episode 3 that they were showing a young Mon Mothma, Bel Organa, and Padme sort of forming an early version of the rebellion, but at the same time not trying to become the separatists. And that was an interesting scene to watch, so I can see why this could work. Because Leia's sort of dealing with the same things as Padme, in that people just aren't listening to logical sense. I love, though, that I was reading comments on Star Wars Newsnet, which gave us the source for this, and I think it's interesting that some people are already drawing lines to real-world politics through these groups. Like, they're saying, oh, the centrists are like the Republicans, and the populists are the Democrats in some ways, and in other ways they're the other way around. But someone actually brought up a good point in the comments of that they're sort of... The centrists take the worst of both sides, whereas the populists take the best of both sides. And it's sort of funny, because it's like, yeah, we can... Like, the centrists have all of the stuff that we argue about, that we're not quite sure about yet. Whereas the populists have all the stuff that we, for the most part, agree on. So it's going to be easy to like the populist characters. But at the same time, I don't want it to be too easy to like them, because I want some gray area.
Because every side has extremists, so we need to have at least one extremist in the populist side to sort of like they say that, hey, I realize that, say like, hey, not all of us are good.
Yeah, it's sort of funny though that Leia is a populist, though, because according to the way that they describe the centrists, which are more military in belief and that they want a military again, Leia wants a military again, at least later on. Not yet she doesn't, but she does later. And I can see her sort of flopping back and forth between the sides and being like, well, I want the powerful military, but I want the planets to still have their own way of living. So I can see the conflict that she'll be having as well. Because I remember in Aftermath, I believe.
I think it eventually will come down to the point where it's like, well, which one do we need more right now?
Yeah, because I remember in Aftermath they got rid of the military entirely, and that's one of the big things. Because Mon Mothma in Aftermath was like, oh, we don't need a military anymore now that we've essentially, like, as soon as the Empire was gone, she was like, yeah, we're done. No more military for the most part. I mean, if you want a military, it's going to be planet-based. It's not going to be galactic. So that's interesting that we're going to see Leia sort of want to bring that back. Alright, it's time for everybody's favorite part, or at least my favorite part, the review. This week we'll be reviewing Season 3 of The Clone Wars.
Time for review!
Alright, so this season was titled The Secrets Revealed, is how they subtitled it when they first started the season. And they were right, it is a Secrets Revealed season, because we see a lot of things that... It's a lot of episodes that go backwards, because we get a lot... Like, the very first episode is a episode that takes place before one of your favorite episodes from Season 1, Rookies. And it shows how they became the rookies that we see them in the show. And it has Heavy. And then the very next episode, they deal with the fact that Heavy died in Rookies. Yeah. And then there's some more episodes that are sort of backwards, like we see some Cad Bane stuff that takes place before the season finale of Season 1, which was...
In that episode, Clone Cadets, we also get a closer look at Cut Up, and I'm still wondering what happened to that boy in his growth jar, because why is he the only clone that's Irish?
Yeah. And poor 99.
Oh, 99.
Yeah, but yeah, this was definitely the Secrets Revealed season.
All right. Your favorite episode. Your favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna sound like a bad guy, but it's the bad guy episode with Savage and Ventress. I mean, honestly, that whole arc, I can't pick a favorite episode out of that arc. I'd have to say the entire arc. I mean, it was just a good arc seeing Ventress sort of grow as a character, because we'd seen her as a one-note villain, and the original Clone Wars series sort of just killed her off.
They brought her in for like 2 episodes.
Yeah, and then they were like, okay, you were a one-note villain that was just meant to make Anakin evil.
You die.
Whereas this one, we sort of see her starting to become more than just a villain, which leads into a book that we're going to review later on, Dark Disciple. And we sort of see her start her, well, she doesn't start her bounty hunter career yet, but she will.
She will.
What was yours?
I think I'm like you. I have to pick an arc, not an episode. And for me, it's the Mortis arc.
Okay, yeah.
It's the Mortis arc, because those 3 episodes, in my opinion, are the highest intensity episodes that we've come across. And it's extremely... I like it because they managed to put so much intensity in there when they're only focusing on 3 characters.
Yeah.
Then you're able to do that without having like a whole big battle going on.
Yeah, and it's sort of the Star Trek episode in the sense that it deals more with the philosophy of things, rather than being you don't really think of Star Wars as a philosophy. Like, you sort of do with the Force, but you don't really think about it that much. When you think philosophy in science fiction, you think Star Trek usually.
And then they introduce these 3 characters that are essentially the embodiment of the Force.
Yeah, whereas the father is sort of he's the balance, whereas son is dark and daughter is light, but you also get a feeling that it's more to them than that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can see that the son might have some light in him if he tried, and the daughter might have some dark in her, because she even wants to if I remember correctly, she wants to kill...
She's the one who needs Obi-Wan to get the dagger that can kill the son.
Yeah, so that's a pretty dark thing for someone that's light to want to do. So it sort of makes you think about it a little bit more.
And since you brought up the Ventress arc with the Night Sisters, I have to bring up, there is a theory going around that Mother Talzin actually was the mother to complete the Force user family.
Okay.
Yeah, there actually is a theory around that, because, there's the father, the daughter, the son, but we never see the mother.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that Mother Talzin was actually the mother.
And she has been around long enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean... She's sort of like Valkorian in that she just doesn't die.
She really doesn't!
I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but she comes back in Season 6. And then she comes back again in a comic that's canon. And then she finally dies in that. So she's died the same amount of times as Valkorian. So, I mean, and she did it in less amount of time.
Way less amount of time!
I mean, at least Valkorian had at least a couple thousand years on him. And
Talzin, not so much.
That we know of, anyways. So, I mean, it could be true. I mean, I also like the idea that Darth Maul, who's going to come in next season, I mean, we sort of get a lead into it at the end of this season, so, I mean, I'm not really spoiling anything. It's revealed that he's Mother Talzin's actual son, like, birth son.
Wait, when was it revealed?
It was in one of the comics.
Oh, okay.
It was in the canon comic that I talked about where she comes back again. It's sort of revealed that he was her legitimate son, and Sidious stole him.
Yeah, and that's actually why it's like all of those things she did. She was never interested in helping Ventress. She just engaged this elaborate scheme to get her son back.
It's not just that. It's even a scheme to get Palpatine back, because if you go deeper into it, the reality was that Palpatine was going to originally team up with Mother Talzin, and they were going to be the 2 Sith. But instead, he was like, "Oh, I like your son. I'm going to kidnap him." And so that's how that happened. So that's why Talzin just hates everybody that's involved in that plot, and so that's why she sort of screws over Dooku in a sense. She's like, "Oh yeah, you want a new apprentice? I could give you a new apprentice. But it's gonna cost you something."
But it will cost you.
Yeah, essentially. Another good thing I liked about this season, honestly, I don't have a least favorite. I mean, it's hard to pick a least favorite this season. Because, like I said last time, this is the season that really kicks things off, in my opinion.
I do have one least favorite episode. I can't remember the name. It's the episode where Ahsoka's having to protect Padme from Aurra Singh.
Oh, Assassin.
No. Actually, I was wrong. That's my second least favorite episode. I'm sorry. My least favorite is the one where C-3PO and R2-D2 get kidnapped by Cad Bane.
Okay, yeah.
That one is just like...
That one...
I realize that you're trying... It's like, I realize that you're trying to, like, set up the whole thing with Zero, but at the same time, I'm just like, this episode is kind of pointless.
I mean, you could sort of throw it away and say Sidious gave him the floor plans.
Yeah, seriously, Sidious probably could have given him the floor plans.
I mean, you could have thrown this episode away. It sort of reminded me of when
If Sidious can give Cad Bane a map of the Jedi Temple, why could he not have also given him a map of the Senate?
Yeah, although technically this wasn't a job for Sidious, unlike the Temple one was.
I
So,
don't care.
I mean, but I think Jabba would have the connections to be like, here's the plans.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean...
Jabba, with all the power that Jabba has, he's bound to have at least one senator in his pocket.
Yeah. It's sort of, I guess I have to agree with you, because, I mean, at the same time, I sort of like the episode, but, I mean, there's a lot worse episodes that are coming up with them.
I might have liked it a little more if R2-D2 didn't spend half the episode in a droid spa.
I think that was an interesting concept to have introduced.
A droid spa! The heck!
It's definitely better than...
And the whole time, R2-D2... The only reason they went out there is because Anakin sent them to go shopping. Because Padme needs these berries for a cake.
Whereas Anakin could have probably done it himself.
And he probably would have had a lot less trouble.
Yeah. I mean, and Cad Bane would never have freed Zero. Although that's actually a pretty good storyline, because Quinlan Vos.
Because Quinlan Vos.
But, I mean... yeah, I can see why you don't like that episode. I don't like 2 episodes that we're going to talk about in Season 4 that have to do with C-3PO and R2. Because there's a 2-episode arc.
I know exactly which episodes you're talking about.
And I didn't like them.
I didn't like them either.
Because it reminded me, in a bad way, of the animated droid series that they did in the 80s.
Oh boy.
Which I like. I mean, as a kid, I liked that series. But now I see the cheese behind it. And it's like, oh, there's some hidden cheese here. Nah, I'm good.
Honestly, when I was watching those episodes, it was like, what is this?
It was like they were trying to revive the droid series and be like, hey, we're going to do a show just about C-3PO and R2 again.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that it doesn't work because they're the least... I mean, they're interesting, but not on their own.
Yeah, they are. They're interesting when they have other characters to play off of.
Yeah, and, I mean, the droid series, the only reason that worked was because the characters they were surrounded by were interesting, not them. Poor Anthony Daniels. But Quinlan Vos, I want to talk about Vos real quick. Okay, so this is leading into one of my favorite, this is a theory I've developed.
Oh, yes.
Of who Rey might be related to. Quinlan Vos. Because in episode 7, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
Shame on you.
Shame on you at this point, it's not our fault anymore. We can talk about it all we want. So, Rey...
You had 4 months!
Rey has a vision when she touches the lightsaber. And she sees, for the most part, not stuff of her own. It's stuff that's connected to the lightsaber.
Like, she sees one of her own memories, but that's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Quinlan Vos has a similar ability, psychometry, which is whenever he touches something, he sees whatever object it's connected to.
Which, in this case, I think the only reason why Rey saw a bunch of extra stuff is because her ability hasn't been refined.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's interesting even more so if you take in legend stuff that's not canon, that originally only Quinlan Vos's specific race could do that ability. Because he's not a human, he's a Kefar, if I remember the name of the race correctly. So, I think that's interesting, and I hope we see more of that ability. We get a little bit of it in Dark Disciple because it focuses on him. It's a book about him. We'll discuss that when in due time. But for the most, let's end things, I guess. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
So what would you rate this season out of 5?
A 4.
4? I can't just say a 4 because I've done 4 and that was for season 1. I'd have to say like maybe a 4.7 or something.
4.7.
Something like that. It's better than season 1 and 2, but it's not quite a 5. It's not.
Ironically, I think the 5 would actually have to go to season 5, or is it season 4? One of the two.
Yeah.
when we look at those again, I'll decide.
This week we'll be trying out a new format, so stick around a little bit and see how this works. Hopefully this format will be okay. I think we'll get the most out of this format rather than the way we've been doing the show. So just let us know in the comments if you think we should go back to the old style or if you like the new style. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so in this new format, we're just going to talk. So, anything Star Wars related been happening to you for the last couple of weeks?
Did you see in Game Informer they talked about this guy that he actually built a walker in his backyard?
I might not have gotten that issue yet. Is that for this month?
No, it was on their website.
Oh, on their website. Okay, I'd have
Yeah.
to look it up then. But, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like, was it like built to scale?
Yes. It was like out of metal.
Oh, out of metal.
Yeah.
Did they say how much that costs or anything?
I don't remember. I just saw it and kind of glanced at it, so I didn't really look too much into it, but I thought it was interesting.
Oh wow. Yeah, the only thing I've really done is I played the new chapter for the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. Okay, I might go into some spoilers here, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hope it's okay with you guys. If not, just skip ahead a couple minutes. I'll give you the thumbs up when we're clear.
Mm-hmm.
So, I played the chapter, playing as my Jedi Knight. Some of the fun things, they added this new thing where now everybody's going to get a lightsaber. Everybody builds a lightsaber in this chapter, even if you're a non-Jedi. Because they made me build a new lightsaber and I figured that's something you have no choice on. This chapter was essentially you being trained Dagobah style.
Oh.
Like, you even go into a cave and fight something. You actually fight, what's her name, Valen. She's your Darth Vader thing.
Yeah.
For this chapter. Valkorion is trying to make you more powerful, obviously, saying, use my power, and trying to train you and saying, you are destined to take my place at the throne, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, I'm actually convinced that I am. Not because of him, but because of two other people that are in the chapter that they bring back. Satele and Darth Marr, who are now working together. Darth Marr has actually forsaken the way of the Sith. He's a little bit more gray Sith. I wouldn't call him a gray Jedi, because he's more gray Sith.
Yeah.
Because he relies still on a lot of the Sith teachings, but he realizes that's not enough anymore. And Bastila is a great Jedi at this point, and they've decided, you know what, we're going to work together, because we realized both of us failed to stop the Eternal Empire.
Yeah.
So now they have to work to train me, or you, depending on your character, to become just as powerful and become essentially to become the next leader of the Eternal Empire, like when you finish everything off. Yeah. Like, your goal at this point is to become the best leader, and that's what they're trying to get you to become, and to give you a weapon that you can take Arkin and Valen out with. So they make you build a new lightsaber for that purpose. Or your first lightsaber, depending. So, I mean, and another thing I enjoyed is you actually had to rely on yourself in this one. Like, it was just you. Although, I will say the chapter is still easy, like the rest of the game's been so far with the new expansion, in that they give you a backpack and things, and if you activate it, it heals you throughout most of it. But then it does have a timer to where it stops healing you, so you have to reset it every few minutes. Remember to reset that, otherwise you're dead. Also fight everything, even if you, just because you have to. They also have another ability they added to where one of the nearby creatures can be allied with you for a little bit. Well, throughout the game or until they die or you set it off. But, yeah, it was pretty good. So that's a thumbs up for you guys that were that didn't want any spoilers. I will say that this chapter was fun. I'm more excited for next chapter because they left it off at a cliffhanger, which they've been doing for the entire expansion. But they left it off at one of the best cliffhangers, one that I sort of predicted though, because I saw the scene. I was like, okay, they're gonna end it here, aren't they? And they
Yeah.
and they ended it. And so I was just like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It made sense where they ended it. I should say it wasn't because predictability isn't always bad.
Yeah.
There's a reason things are predictable. So that's essentially what I did over the week. The other thing is I bought my Blu-ray of the Force Awakens. Got my digital and DVD combo. That way I can get that extra deleted scene. I watched everything. Have you had a chance to get your copy yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So you haven't seen any of the bonus features yet?
No.
The hour-long, there's the over-hour-long one. That's
Mhm.
supposed to be the entire featurette of like almost everything, and then they have a few extra ones here and there to focus on more specific things.
Yeah.
It's all great, all of it. I suggest watching all the behind-the-scenes stuff if you're into that. The deleted scenes, I can see why they got deleted. Now that I look at them, not a lot of them impressed me, and I wasn't really like, oh, if this was in there, would have made it all better. And this is coming from someone who read the book.
Yeah.
And the book has a lot of those deleted scenes. Now, there's some that weren't in the deleted scenes that are deleted that were in the book. Those are the stuff that I think, okay, you should have added that. But the stuff that we see on the disc, I'm sort of glad it was deleted. Even the Kylo Ren finds the Millennium Falcon scene. That one, everybody was like, oh, why'd they delete that? That should have been one of those scenes that you would have felt more emotional when he kills Han. It serves the same purpose as that scene where he just senses Han and he's like, Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like when Han first gets on the planet and you see Kylo storming about and he has that sense moment. It's essentially that scene, but on the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
So it would have been redundant to keep it.
Yeah. Sounds like it would have been.
But I mean, I can understand why people originally would think, oh, why'd they delete that? But when you see it, then you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, it had a Dutch angle, which a professional, I'm sorry, JJ, professional filmmakers, it's not used that often, and there's a reason. You feel sort of off about it. And like everybody saw, like, you know, everybody saw the image of the snow troopers inside the Millennium Falcon, and we saw the Dutch angle shot, and everybody was like, oh, I hope that's not for the entire deleted scene. It's for the entire deleted scene. Yeah, I'm glad that scene's gone.
Yeah.
The snow speeders chase scene was another one that was deleted that everybody was like, oh, why'd you delete that one? That would have been great. It would have explained why Finn and Rey had to be away for the entire part up till when Han gets killed. Sort of, once again, wasn't that impressive. Maybe it's because the effects weren't done yet. Because you can tell the effects weren't like polished and everything yet. But you can tell where the scene was going. And yeah, it was an unnecessary scene. It would have added maybe 5 extra minutes that would have been unnecessary. So for the most part, deleted scenes I agree with being deleted. Featurettes were great. The one that will really get you emotional is you get to see a little bit of the very first read through. Like, you know the infamous image from episode 7 when they first announced it, they showed the image of everybody at the table read for the first time.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of that and you get emotional because you know you saw our recent table read for my current show.
Yeah.
So you saw how it goes where somebody reads the interior and then the actions and stuff. Mark Hamill was the one reading that stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so you get a little emotional because you're just like, oh, Mark Hamill, your voice. It's so perfect for this. Because he reads a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And he reads the entire, like, all of that moment of the crawl. And you're just like, oh. And then you sort of forgive them for not giving him any lines. Because then he wouldn't have been the one to probably read that stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's a very emotional moment. So, moving on from Force Awakens, I mean, unless you have anything, like you said, you haven't gotten your copy yet, so
No, I haven't.
you unfortunately don't have an opinion on it. Have you had a chance to play the new Battlefront DLC content?
No, I haven't yet.
You haven't been able to do anything, man.
Nope.
Well, it's fun. You've heard me talk about it before. You guys haven't. You can now play with rotations on the game types rather than the maps, which I think is a wonderful addition. Because for me, honestly, I get bored if it's the same game type over and over, even if it's on a different map. I'm one of those people that's like, okay, I need to play this game type and this game type, and I don't care what map it's on. I'm going to play all the different game types just because it gives me a good rotation.
Yeah.
You can do that now. You don't get to choose the rotation of game types, unfortunately. I think that's something that they'll probably add later from the sounds of what DICE has been talking about. Because DICE has been talking about that type of
So
stuff.
it's more kind of like a roulette.
No, you sort of know what's going to come next, but it's more of a, you pick how big of the game type you want it to be, and then they go from there.
Okay.
So, like, you know, the bigger game types like Walker Assault, Blast, what's the one that's basically Conquest? The one that's essentially Conquest. So you have those three that are essentially the big game types, and you get to go through those a bunch, essentially. And then you get your smaller game types, such as your cargo, and then your drop pods, and all that. And you get to go through those. And then there's one that's just the expansion content, essentially, where you play Droid Run because that's one game type that it makes sense because you have the heroes in it.
Yeah.
So, and then you have the new game type, Extraction game mode. So so that's the new game type that they added, where it's essentially you have cargo as if you're the rebellion, you have cargo, and you're trying to get it out of there. You're trying to get it to the end of the map. You're going from one side of the map to the opposite, essentially, and then you have a ship that's going to take off with your cargo. The Empire's job is to stop you, and basically, it's actually a game type that either side could win, unlike Walker Assault, where it's very much balanced to be the Empire will win 75% of the time. This one is a little bit more 50-50 because, unlike Walker Assault, the Empire can actually stop your cargo from moving. You can actually, there's a switch, essentially, that it's one of those hold D or hold square if you're playing PlayStation, which is what I do. Hold square and it has a little timer and then it stops. Or it goes if you're the rebellion because you want it to move. So it has one of those. Now one of the things the rebellion do get is they get a chance to put a shield around it because it's a bubble shield, one of those bubble shields, but it moves with the cargo. It's one that's stuck on top, they put it on top of the cargo and it moves with it. So if you're in one of those heavy fire areas, make use of that. Another thing that they added is at the beginning of the match, the rebellion gets a hero automatically. The Empire doesn't. And then when you get to there's 3 checkpoints essentially. And when you get to the second checkpoint, then both sides get a hero. Now, this is where you sort of want to be a little bit more strategic. You want if you're the rebellion, you want to have both heroes at that middle point, which means you want to make sure your first hero doesn't die getting the cargo to the second extraction point. When you get to the third point, that's when the Empire gets 1 extra hero. And that's when you're going to be hoping that you killed the one at the middle and you had your 2, and you still have your 2 extra heroes. Because then it's essentially easy. But I've seen it go the other way around, where the Empire has the heroes outnumber, and then they win because of that.
Yeah.
The other thing you get to play when you're on the DLC playlist, I guess is the best term for it. When you're on the DLC playlist, is you get to have your you get to play the heroes versus villains game type. And now it's 4v4 because of the DLC rather than 3v3. So you get to try out Greedo and Nien Nunb. Now the new thing that they added is instead of it being random what hero you get, you actually get to choose your hero at the very beginning of the match. But you got to be quick because somebody else may want the same hero as you. So it's first come first serve essentially. Now it is random who gets to be the hero, but it's no longer random on what hero you get. Which is I think one of the better parts about the expansion. One of the good things is if you didn't get the season pass and you don't plan on getting the expansion, it's not going to ruin your game time. The only thing is you don't get to play the new maps, I'm pretty sure. I don't think you can play the new maps if you didn't. But you'll still get the new weapons.
Yeah.
You'll still get to play it with the new weapons which they released. And you will still interact with other players who happen to be using heroes from the new expansion.
Yeah.
So, say I have the expansion and you don't, which we both do.
Yeah.
But just for this example, say you didn't. Say I was playing as Greedo, and we were in the same game, and you happen to be on the Rebellion, and I run up to you and I go boom, and you die, because Greedo.
Yeah.
Because that's all Greedo would do. Boom. So that still affects you, even though you don't have it. And that's one of the better things I think about the way Battlefront has been working is even if you don't get the DLC, they still are providing other DLCs to make up for it, and they're still giving you the weapons. They're not saying, oh, you don't get the weapons. You just don't get the maps and the heroes, which...
And then they also do all the, like, XP boost weekends.
Yeah, like this weekend.
Yeah, like this weekend.
This weekend's an XP boost weekend because of The Force Awakens coming out.
Yep.
So, alright, let's move on because I think there's one big topic I'm pretty sure everybody wants us to talk about.
Yes.
It's definitely one I want to talk about, mainly because it's something that you guys have heard me complain about for weeks.
Yep.
Rogue One trailer. Finally!
Yep.
Finally comes out, and it's amazing. That's all I can say, it's amazing. Despite my complaints, I will say it was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it.
And they honestly released it at a better time, sooner than I thought they would. I honestly thought they were going to wait till next month when Civil War comes out, and they would have shown it on the big screen. But they decided, hey, Force Awakens came out on Blu-ray. Now we can start showing advertisement for Rogue One, which makes sense from a business standpoint. It's just as a fan, I wish it had come sooner.
Yeah.
So anything about the trailer that stands out for you that you're really excited for or really not excited for?
I'm kind of excited just to find out the stories behind the new characters.
Oh, like Janice?
Yeah, because it looked like
Janice,
she was getting arrested by them.
Yeah, it looked like she had gotten in trouble with the Rebellion, probably because the way they make it seem is that she's part of the Rebellion, but she did something that went too far. And so the Rebellion's like, alright, we gotta send you on this mission to make up for all that. We're okay with you being on our side, but if you're gonna go that far, let's put you on a mission where that's necessary.
Yeah.
Mon Mothma in the trailer, though, I was happy about.
Yeah.
And right away, I was one of the people who knew that it was the same actress that was in the deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith. I knew that right away. A lot of people, it became an argument on the internet because it wasn't confirmed yet. It became confirmed later. So I'm glad that she gets her chance to shine because I personally liked the deleted scene she was in, and I wish that it stayed in Revenge of the Sith. Yes, it would have dealt more in the politics stuff, but it was also the formation of the rebellion, which I think would have been a good scene to have in Revenge of the Sith, to show that even that early on, there were people against the way that Palpatine was running things. Alright. We're going to play a little game here to figure out what we think of Rogue One. So, there's a character that I think should show up. Who we haven't seen in the trailers and hasn't been confirmed yet. And I hope it's played by the same actor that played him in the other films. It's Bail Organa, played by Jimmy Smits.
Yes.
So, percentage of a chance that you think he will be in Rogue One. Even if it's not... Okay, let's make this a twofold question. Percentage that Bail Organa will be in it, whether it's played by Jimmy Smits or not.
I would say probably around an 80 to 90% chance.
Okay, I'm probably with you there. Okay, now percentage that it's Jimmy Smits playing Bail Organa again like he did in the prequels.
I would say that's probably lower chance.
Like where how low are you talking? Like,
I'll say 50-50.
okay, I'd honestly go with 75 that he's back as Bail Organa, and I'd go around the same area as you in the 80s, 85 area of Bail Organa being in this movie because he has to be.
Yeah, he has to be.
Even if it's at the very end where he's just like, okay, Leia, here's the plans.
Yeah.
It has to happen.
Yep.
All right, now a percentage that Leia's in it. What that a young like a Leia that we from A New Hope's in it. Because I joked about I had to make it.
high.
I had to make a joke about that, but in seriousness, she's probably.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we don't see her face, we know
We'll
that.
hear about her at least.
Yeah, hearing about her, I'd say is a higher chance.
Mhm.
I'd say hearing about her is a 95% chance.
Yeah.
Her physically being seen, it's probably lower. That one
Yeah,
I'd
it
go
would-
50-50.
It would definitely, if they did, it would probably be towards the end where they
Yeah, whereas
bringing it in.
with the Organa going, here's the plans.
Here's the plans. Yep.
And then, because I feel like Rogue One is one of those movies that it's going to lead us directly into A New Hope. Like you should be able to just watch Rogue One and then not even be able to, and not have to watch the title crawl and watch A New Hope. Like if a fan edit were to come out once Rogue One comes out, a fan's going to edit the credits out of Rogue One and the title crawl out of A New Hope, and you should be able to watch it like one movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how this movie's going to play out. And if I'm wrong, I'll be surprised, but I won't, be upset either.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's everything we have time for now.
Yeah.
So let's move on to everybody's favorite part,
Yes.
the review.
The review.
Our assignment for the last couple of weeks, sorry about that again, we've been very busy, for the last couple of weeks was to watch Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, so we watched season 4. We're almost there. We're almost out of the Clone Wars territory.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not too excited about it being out of it, but I am at the same time because I do want to talk about the books, the comics, the other material, anything else that comes up. I am excited to talk about the other stuff, but let's talk about this season of Clone Wars.
Yes.
So let's do what we always do, start with our least favorite and most favorite episode, or arc.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start. I'll let you lead us off.
Well, I think my favorite arcs were the ones with the clones.
Okay, the Krell one.
Yeah, the Krell one, where Anakin's called back to the Order and they bring in General Krell to lead the troops, and he turns out to be bad and evil.
Goes Dark Jedi on everybody.
Goes Dark Jedi on everyone. I was just like, I'm gonna kill everyone, pretty much. And so the stormtroopers kind of fight back and end up actually killing him in the end.
Yeah. What's your least favorite out of that? Out of this season?
I'm not sure what's my least
I mean,
favorite.
for the most part, this season's good. I'll give you.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But there are a couple episodes I have a problem with. But I'll get into them on my turn. I'll let you lead us off first, just so just to get your ideas.
Yeah, it's a hard one this time around.
I mean, I have a couple ones, so I think I'll give you. I'll share mine just to give you an idea of what I don't like, and maybe you also didn't like them. The droids episodes, for one.
Yeah.
That's my first big problem.
That was one of the big problems that I had. Probably was the droids.
Yeah, the Mercy Mission and the Nomad droids.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't watched season 4, these 2 episodes were dedicated just to C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah.
And if you grew up in the 80s, which I did not, you would probably be reminded of this show called Star Wars Droids, which was just about C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah.
The problem is, C-3PO and R2-D2 cannot lead something on their own.
No, they can't.
Even the Star Wars Droid show in the 80s, they knew they had to have human or at least non-droid characters in the show to lead the show on. Yeah. And it worked back then. this didn't work because it was just C-3PO and R2 running into other things, and it didn't work for me, anyways.
Yeah.
One of my other not so favorite arcs was the Kadavo, the slave arc.
Yeah.
It works in that it gave us a little bit more of Anakin's rage, but it didn't work because I read the comics for the Clone Wars that were coming out at around the same time as the show, and they were supposed to be within the same continuity. The comics aren't canon though anymore, but they stole that storyline from the comics, the Kadavo storyline, almost frame for frame, but not quite. And I preferred the comic, like in the end, and I'm just like, yeah, I got more bored watching these episodes.
Yeah.
They're honestly, like, I talked about how in season 1 there's an episode I'd skip, or this one it's a full arc I'd skip.
Yeah.
It's a little sad.
That is pretty sad.
Now for my favorite, you stole one of my favorites, the Umbara storyline, but one of my other ones is the Obi-Wan undercover one.
Yes.
Obi-Wan fakes his death and then pretends to be a bounty hunter, works with Cad Bane for essentially a heist movie, but it's also a movie where they plan to assassinate Palpatine.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And then because it's it's 5 episodes. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It's a 5-episode arc. And it's basically Count Dooku hires the best of the best bounty hunters, and Obi-Wan fakes his death, pretending to be the guy that murdered him, and then goes to prison, makes friends, because it's a prison movie as well, makes friends with Cad Bane and this other bounty hunter that's not, he's important to the story, but he's not that important overall.
They break out.
And then they end up working, he ends up getting Cad Bane's trust. Because that's the biggest.
Because they get put through a trial kind of thing.
Yeah, and then they get put into this thing called The Box, which reminded me of that horror film, also called The Box.
Yeah, kind of did.
And it was basically this. It was a trial by Count Dooku to be like, that was built by the other bounty hunter. That was like, okay, I want all the best bounty hunters to prove their worth for this team, and if you don't, you will die from the box.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan almost made captain of the team, but Cad Bane proved himself more worthy of being the leader, I guess, somehow. I can't remember exactly how.
Because he saved Obi-Wan?
Yeah, he saved Obi-Wan or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Obi-Wan was about to die after proving to the other bounty hunter that he was better, because the other bounty hunter wanted to be in charge.
Yep.
And he was all getting mad, and he's like, no, this is my box, I'm going to prove I'm better than all of you. Because he built the box. And he's like, I'm going to do everything to kill Obi-Wan. And
he ended up died himself.
Yeah, he ended up failing.
Yep.
And then there was another episode, the next episode, which is the last episode, they go through with the plan to take out Palpatine. And Cad Bane and Count Dooku somehow knew Obi-Wan was pretending, and they had like a communicator hidden inside the sniper rifle that Obi-Wan was supposed to have.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. Anakin and Count Dooku get a pretty good lightsaber fight in that episode as well. Overall, that was a good storyline. And let's talk about the fact that Darth Maul came back.
Yeah.
In person.
The last episode of the season.
Well, the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, last 2.
Yeah, because before that were the 2 episodes about Ventress dealing with the Night Sisters being killed off by Grievous and the droid army.
And her becoming more of a
bounty hunter, which has Bosk in it. Yeah. One of the greats. One of the great classics.
Yep.
And then the last 2 episodes were Savage. First one was Savage finding Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And then the second one was Obi-Wan and Asajj Ventress working together because they found out that both Savage and Darth Maul were alive.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Ventress didn't know Savage was still alive for the most part. Or she didn't consider him a threat anymore. But he was working with Darth Maul now. And Obi-Wan's like, oh great, now Darth Maul's back. And Ventress and Obi-Wan work together to fight them. Everybody gets away though.
Yep, everyone does.
It's sort of a to be continued in season 5 story arc.
Yep.
And boy, season 5. Wait till we get there.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay. Any last thoughts that you want to put in for this season?
Not really. Just a lot happened.
Yeah, a lot. So, what would you give it out of our rating system?
I would give it. Whew. This is a hard one.
I give it a 4.8.
Yeah, I'd give it a 4 point. I'm gonna go 4.9.
Okay, you're gonna go a point
Yeah.
1 above.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4.8, 4.9. That's still good. That's a 4.85
Yeah.
when you round it out. It's another exciting week of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm your host Caleb,
I'm John.
and check us out on if you want to get in contact with us other than the comments. Email us at escaperealityfilms@gmail.com, and you can join the conversation if you want to talk about something we talked about or ask us questions about stuff that we might know Star Wars related, and we can talk about it. I always wanted to get emails from people
Yep.
that I didn't know or do know
Yep.
or do know. So see you guys next week, hopefully, if nothing happens.
If nothing happens.
No promises.